If it only goes on one, then I'll make sure it gets onto the other. But every post should have multiple links for it. So you should be able to watch it either via the webinar or YouTube. And it will definitely go up on Facebook.
Cool.
So we'll have that.
Okay.
Yay.
So it is live. It's happening.
It is live. It is happening now. All right. Okay. I'm going off camera if I am all off. Good, good, good. Lovely. Once again, this is the Untitled Nicolas Cage action comedy, asterisk actual title, written by Trevor Munson and Joe Booth. We are up on a teaser trailer. This movie is rated R for language and violence. Inside an old church, the doors are open to the desert scape outside. Doves flutter in the wooden rafters. A sweet little old lady walks with a cane towards the altar. Pollock Pictures proudly presents. She takes a seat inside a confessional. A familiar voice greets her. It is the voice of Nicolas Cage.
Welcome.
Blessed Father, for I have sinned. I have done terrible deeds, and I'm going to do more.
I have a confession too. I knew you were coming!
Dressed in a priest collar and double-fisting sawed-off shotguns, Nick Cage kicks the window to the confessional open as the sweet old lady transforms into a horrifying demon. Over the sounds of gunfire, when hell comes calling. In a desertscape, a series of shots, Nick Cage in a sleeveless priest uniform and looking like Rambo carries a submachine gun to the middle of the desert. One man will rise up to deliver us from evil. Nick Cage raises the machine gun at winged demons flying at him. He's blowing them away. They explode in bloody clouds. But no one can deliver evil. Nick Cage explodes a two-headed demon using nunchucks from him. Nick Cage looks at his church and pulls out a remote control.
Forgive me, Lord.
Crossing himself, Nick Cage pushes a button. The church explodes. Demon seed. If he can't save your soul, he'll send you straight to hell. Exterior, Hollywood movie studio, day. In a piece of shit convertible Porsche Boxster with a dented fender and a missing headlight are two writers. In the passenger seat, Joe Booth, a writerly nice guy, watches the Demon Seed trailer from his cracked iPhone. Behind the wheel is Trevor Munson. Beneath his handful of tattoos lies an anger that is always 10% away from boiling over. This trailer might be the 10%.
Man, Nick Cage sells it every time.
Yeah, he's amazing, but we should be writing that shit. You and I are fucking talented, and we should be writing $100 million movies.
Yeah, we're not at that level yet.
I've sold scripts. You've sold scripts. I fucking had a show on the air on CBS.
Look, I know, but I mean, buddy, fair was like 11 years ago.
10 and a half.
Okay, let's stay positive. All right, we're here because the studio liked our script. If they buy it, we'll be in business with them, and then we can pitch ourselves to write Demon Seed too.
Grinning, Joe looks at Trevor. Without his glasses on, we see that one of his eyes seems to be signaling a right turn.
Oh, Jesus. Joe, put your glasses on. That wonky eye is freaking me out.
Right, yeah, sorry.
Joe puts his glasses on and instantly corrects his lazy eye as Trevor pulls the Porsche up to a guard booth. The security guard steps out. This is Benny. Think Lenny from Mice and Men with a fake badge and a walkie-talkie. Trevor and Joe hand in their IDs.
Hey there, Joe.
Hey, Benny.
Hey, I haven't seen you around. Where'd you get to?
Oh, I quit working for the studio a while back so I could write full time.
Well, good luck with that. I got Trevor Munson. I'm sorry, I don't have Joe Booth in the system.
Oh, God damn it. Why does this always happen to us? We're going to be late.
Oh, wait, could you check under Gloof? The assistant got my name wrong and I just never corrected her.
God. Pussy.
Yep, here it is. Joe Booth.
Benny prints them out a car pass, sticks it to Trevor's window, and raises the security gate to let them on. Exterior studio lot parking area, day. Parked, Trevor pulls the top up on the Porsche and gets out. In the passenger seat, Joe tries his door. It won't budge.
No, that door won't open from the inside. You got to climb this way.
Struggling, Joe climbs over the gear shift and gets out.
Maybe we should take my car next time.
Why? Because you have a nice new lease and mine is a broke down piece of shit?
Yeah.
Sorry, we don't have a wife with a restaurant to help pay the bills.
Irritated, Trevor starts across the lot towards a 6-story office building. Joe sighs, hurries to catch up.
Okay, when we get in there, do me a favor and don't start doing your thing where you agree to everything the guy says, okay?
Fine. If you don't do your thing where you seem difficult, and then they don't want to work with us.
We track with them as they enter the building and walk to a set of elevators. Trevor pushes a button, turns to Joe.
Joe, my being difficult is the reason they want to work with us.
I don't think that's correct.
Ding! The elevator arrives. They get on. Continuing their conversation, Joe and Trevor ride up.
No, in this town, you can't afford to be a nice guy. You have to stand up to these people or you get fucked.
Look, I think you can be a nice guy and not get fucked. I mean, look at Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks is a good guy. There's a difference. Good guys have integrity, but they're not wimps. Nice guys just agree with everything so no one gets upset with them.
I guess you're right.
See? That is exactly what I'm talking about right there. Do not go in there and start agreeing with everything this guy says.
Fine.
Ding! The elevator doors open and they step off into a feng shui-inspired reception area where the assistant, Abby, sits at a reception desk. They go over.
Hi, Joe Booth and Trevor Munson to see Pat Pollock.
Yeah, sorry, Trevor Munson and Joe Booth.
Trevor smiles. It's a little maniacal. Abby checks her calendar. And she says,
Munson,
Is that me?
did you say Booth or Gluth?
Oh, whichever. I go by both. It's fine.
interior Pat Pollock's showy penthouse office, morning. Carrying bottles of water, naturally, Joe and Trevor follow Abby into an office. A bulletproof trophy case with Oscars, Emmys, and Golden Globes takes up one entire wall. Studio chief Pat Pollock, 50s. Think Arvind Ethan David. Sits behind his 200,000 Pernian desk. He's a powerful, affable, breezy man. Trevor immediately doesn't trust him.
Eyes, come in. Have a seat. Anywhere.
Trevor takes a seat on a couch. Joe goes over and looks at the trophy case.
Some good-looking Oscars there.
You want to hold one?
Unlocking the case, he hands an Oscar to Joe.
Wow. It's a lot heavier than I thought it was.
Joe suddenly drops the Oscar with a loud thud.
Shit, sorry. I'm so sorry. I have an overactive sweat gland, especially when I'm nervous. So.
It's fine.
Quickly stooping to pick it up, he hands the Oscar back to Pollock, who tries to hide his displeasure.
It's fine. No harm done.
Trevor glares at Joe as he comes and sits on the couch. Pollock returns the Oscar to the case, then comes out and takes a seat in a chair that resembles a mini throne.
All right. Great. Dive in whenever you're ready.
I'm sorry, dive in?
With the pitch.
Oh, no, it's not a pitch. It's a script. Jenny said she sent it over.
Yeah. I don't read scripts. I rather hear you guys pitch it.
Okay, well, we didn't come prepared to pitch.
But it's fine, right? I mean, I'll give you the short pitch. It's a comedy called Maid Guy, M-A-I-D, and it's about an ex-mob tough guy who goes into witness protection program and becomes a maid for an uptight suburban mom and her two kids. It's like My Blue Heaven meets Who's the Boss.
Yeah, or two references that aren't literally from the last century.
I like it. So then what? The mob finds him and kills the woman and with her family, and then this guy has to go back and get revenge? Fucking kills everyone?
No, because as we said, this is a comedy.
But what if it wasn't a comedy?
Well, then that would be a different movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, comedy action. It's really just about refining the story beats and leaning more into the tough guy aspect. Trevor and I, we really do love action.
But you also need the right star. Who were you thinking for the lead?
Will Ferrell.
It is who we were thinking about when it was a comedy. But now that we're talking about making it an action movie, we were thinking more like Nick Cage.
Yeah, or maybe The Rock.
DJ's in Japan doing the Sense and Sensibility reboot. He's aiming for an Oscar this year. But Nicolas Cage, I like that idea. We just finished doing Demon Seed together.
Yeah, we saw the trailer. It looks amazing.
Nick Cage would get this movie made.
So you like the idea?
No. I fucking love it.
Joe beams, pissed. Trevor fakes a smile. Exterior sushi stop patio, Franklin Village, noon. Still fuming, Trevor takes a seat at the table on the He's out on the patio. The door opens and Joe exits carrying 2 large sakes.
I know it's only noon, but what the hell? We just sold the movie. Let's celebrate.
Sitting, Joe pours them each some sake, then raises his cup to toast. Trevor just stares at him. Joe puts his cup down.
What's wrong?
You know what's wrong, Joe. We wrote a fucking comedy.
Yeah, but you know, he wasn't into the comedy.
Yeah, so we take our script somewhere else.
Why would we take it somewhere else when he wants it?
He doesn't want our movie. He wants his movie.
Okay, so we rewrite it. Like, it's not that different. We'll just amp up the action and cut out the jokes. We still get to tell the story and we get paid. Look, man, things aren't great. Alexa's been saying, if you and I don't sell something soon, I need to start working at the restaurant. Maybe you're happy with your situation, but I don't want to go sell vegan food.
What are you talking about? I'm not happy. Bonnie and I broke up. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment and I drive a busted piece of shit I can't afford to fix. My life sucks.
Okay, so let's change that. Look, we write a hot action script and you and I are meeting on Marvel, Star Wars, huge tentpole franchises.
I want a tentpole franchise more than I want a girl with 3 boobs.
Yeah, but what would you even do with the girl with 3 boobs? You only have 2 hands.
And a mouth.
Okay, well, here you go. This is our 3-boob franchise.
Trevor considers his piece of shit Porsche parked on the street.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's the spirit. Look, you'll see, Nick Cage is going to make us rich. This is the beginning of us finally getting some respect in this town to getting what we deserve.
Trevor lifts his sake and taps it to Joe's. They throw the sake back. Interior, Joe and Alexa's suburban house. A few days later, Joe writes on his laptop. Hearing a honk, he looks up to see a brand new gold Lexus pulling into the driveway. Looking closer, Trevor is behind the wheel. Exterior, Joe and Alexa's house, same. Joe exits the house as Trevor climbs out of the car.
Holy crap, you bought a car?
No, I bought a fucking gold Lexus. Just signed the paperwork and drove it off the lot today.
Yeah, shouldn't you have waited until we heard back from Jenny?
No, fuck that. I went home after sushi, and full disclosure, I had an entire bottle of rosé, and I realized I've let this town turn me into a jaded asshole. That's not me. I'm a fun-loving, easygoing guy who loves life.
If you say so.
I do. This is the real Trevor, and he owns a gold Lexus. Besides, by the time the payments start, the deal money will be rolling in.
What'd you do with the Porsche?
On Trevor, we flash to the desert. In the middle of nowhere, Trevor pours gasoline on his Porsche and sets it on fire. As it burns in the background, he gets his cell phone out and calls his insurance.
Hi, I'd like to make a claim on a stolen vehicle.
Back to Joe and Alexa's house as before.
Yeah, I just traded it in. Come on, I'll take you for a ride.
In Trevor's brand new gold Lexus on Sunset Boulevard, hip-hop music plays. How edgy. Feeling very baller, Joe and Trevor cruise the boulevard.
Check it out.
Trevor turns on the windshield wipers.
What?
They work. No more pulling over until it stops raining. I mean, this car is amazing.
Like you're manifesting success.
Exactly. This is what I've been saying. You have to sack up and tell the world what you expect from it. You know? It's like Field of Dreams.
If you buy it, it will come.
Yes. This movie is going to bring me back from the edge. It's time our ship came in, my friend. Pound it.
Trevor holds out a fist. Joe pounds it. Very edgy. A call comes in.
Ooh, it's Jenny. Maybe she's got news.
Trevor puts the call through over his car speakers. Intercut Jenny Wood, their polished, classy British manager, at her office desk.
Jenny, hey, you got Trevor and Joe.
Hey guys, so I finally connected with Pollock and I'm afraid the news isn't great. He said he wants to think about it.
What?
Think about it?
Mm-hmm.
No, he told us he wanted it to be his next movie.
Well, he said he definitely likes it, but he wants to wait a little before pulling the trigger.
Wait for how long?
I just bought a Lexus.
He didn't say. Sorry the news wasn't better, but I've got to run. I'm late for a lunch.
Jenny hangs up. Pulling to a stop at a red light, Joe and Trevor just look at each other, dejected.
Do Do you think if I return the car right now, they'll cancel the deal and give me my money back?
Yeah, I mean, you've only had it for like an hour.
Yeah.
Trevor nods hopefully as the light turns green. Wham! A car hits him from behind, jolting them. The guys, as they absorb this.
Maybe not now.
Trevor's homicidal expression. We pull out of the car, leaving the scene of the Sunset Boulevard fender bender, and we cut to black. It's 6 months later. We're back up on Sunset Boulevard, this time in the early evening. Crowds gather in front of a packed bar. Trevor's Lexus pulls up. Everyone turns to look. The window rolls down. Trevor leans over.
Uber for Rick?
A guy named Rick hops in.
You Trevor? Hey, thanks, man. Nice car.
Yeah, I know.
Trevor puts his Uber sticker in the window and pulls out. As Trevor drives over Laurel Canyon, Rick talks on his cell phone in the back seat. Trevor listens in, silently judging.
It's called Stockholm Syndrome. It's a reverse horror movie about a female captive who falls for kidnappers and hunts them down one by one when they won't love her back. Yeah, of course there'll be nudity. Oh,
The call drops.
hello? Hello? Fucking canyons, man.
As the Lexus pulls up to a stop near a corner newsstand, Trevor looks over at it. Seeing something, his expression darkens.
No fucking way.
What?
Motherfucker.
Excuse me?
Trevor climbs out of the Lexus and goes over to the newsstand. Trevor's POV. He stares at the cover of the latest Hollywood Reporter. It has a picture of Nicolas Cage on it, holding a feather duster in one hand and a silenced gun in the other. Furious, Trevor rips it off the stand.
Hey, yo, you gotta pay for that.
Yeah, everyone will pay for this.
Carrying the magazine, Trevor runs back to his Lexus. Rick stares from the back seat.
Get out.
But I'm not home yet.
Get the fuck out.
But you just got yourself 1 star, asshole. 1 star.
Giving him the finger, Trevor gets into the Lexus and squeals away. Inside and outside a restaurant, raw vegan burger, evening. The sign shows a slice of tomato between 2 cucumber slices. The place is deserted. Looking pissed, Trevor enters carrying a copy of The Hollywood Reporter. He stalks over to Joe, who stands at the counter in a stupid-looking paper burger chef hat.
Hey, what are you doing here? You hate raw vegan food.
Yeah, look around, Joe. Everyone hates raw vegan food.
Would you like to try our savory portobello mushroom burger or maybe some of our delicious cucumber sliders?
No, I came to show you this.
Trevor tries to show Joe the magazine.
Sorry, dude, I'm on the clock. You have to order something. The boss is watching.
Trevor looks over to see Alexa, Joe's super efficient type A wife, watching them from the office.
Hey, Alexa.
Okay, I hope you didn't come to bother Joe because it cost me $15 every minute he's not working.
Oh, no. I came to try some of this delicious vegan food I've heard so much about. I'll have an order of the cucumber sliders, please.
Got it. Yeah, with a side of carrot fries. It's only $5 extra. Yeah.
Sure.
Great. Have a seat and I'll bring it over when it's ready.
We track with Trevor as he walks to a table. As he sits, Joe is already there with a tray of raw vegan food.
It's ready.
Toast on 3 cucumber slicers, which each contain a slice of tomato and a pickle, and the side of raw carrot fries.
Ketchup?
No, I'm good.
Joe stares at him until Trevor realizes he's actually going to have to eat some of it. Grabbing a cucumber slider, he takes a bite.
She's still watching, so pretend you like it.
Oh, wow. That's just like the real thing. That's delicious.
In the office, Alexa smiles and turns back to her office work.
So, what's up?
This.
He flips the Hollywood Reporter over so Joe can see it. Joe picks it up and reads.
In Made to Kill, Nick Cage's newest action blockbuster, Cage plays an unassuming male maid who becomes a hitman for the mob. What the fuck?
Yeah. This is why Jenny never heard back from Pollock. The motherfucker has been buying time to steal our fucking idea. He even took our title pun.
I mean, kind of, it's just it's a different premise.
Oh my God damn it, Joe. Will you have a pair of stones for once in your life? That Pat Pollock asshole, who you thought was such a nice guy, completely fucked us.
Okay, Okay, well, let's just call Jenny. She'll know what to do. Maybe she doesn't.
Oh no.
Jenny.
Sorry, guys, I was on the other line. I don't know what to do.
Hey, Jenny's voice comes through loud and clear in Trevor's dented gold Lexus. In the parking lot, Trevor and Joe talk with Jenny over the car speakers.
Talked to Pollock. He said it's two separate ideas. Your idea of the comedy version gave him his idea of the action version.
No, that's bullshit. It's a mobster who's also a maid. It doesn't matter if it's comedy or action. It's still our idea.
Well, that's what I said, and he said you can't own an idea. He thinks he's in the right. Honestly, I don't know what options we have here, unless you want to sue.
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay, well, what would that mean?
Well, a good litigator will run you about 25 grand a piece just to start, and there's no guarantee that you'd win, but even if you do, the case could take years to settle.
Oh, motherfucker.
It's up to you. I'll stand with you guys, whatever you want to do.
Okay, thanks, Jenny. We're gonna think about it. We'll get back to you.
We have to sue.
With what money? You're driving Uber, and this place is barely staying afloat.
Yeah, well, we can't let him just fuck us. I mean, we have to do something.
Let's talk to Nick Cage.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yep. Yeah. We pitch him our original concept. All we have to do is convince him ours is better. Ours is the better version, and we can steal our movie back from the inside.
You want me to grovel to some fucking actor so I can get hired to do rewrites on the movie that was stolen from me?
You got a better idea?
Revenge killing everyone involved? You're kidding.
Well, I think it's worth a shot. If a big movie star like Nick Cage decides he likes the comedy version better, he can make the studio do whatever he wants.
Something about this registers for Trevor.
Right. Because they need him. Without their star, they can't do shit. Okay, but how do we get there?
Well, the movie's filming on the lot. I know lots of security guys from when I used to work there. We'll just talk our way on.
Let's fucking do this.
Joe nods. Energized, they bump fists. Very edgy. Trevor starts the car as Joe opens the door to get out.
What are you doing?
I'm on the clock. Yeah, I gotta go check with Alexa to make sure it's okay if I punch out early.
Trevor watches as Joe go back inside to check with Alexa. Then Joe comes running back out.
Alexa says I can go in an hour.
Get in the fucking car.
Okie dokie.
Joe gets in. Exterior studio lot, gate 7, night. Trevor and Joe pull up to a stop in front of the barrier gate at a security booth. As luck would have it, it's Benny.
Hey, Benny.
Hey, Joe, what are you doing here this time of night?
Hollywood never sleeps, So there's a movie that needs some rewrite.
Cool.
Benny punches their names into the system.
I'm sorry, it doesn't look like I have you in here.
Oh, no, that's not. Again? That's crazy. That dummy assistant must have screwed up my name.
That's okay. You're good. Here you
Prints
go.
them a lot pass.
Just don't. You can park in the parking structure.
Thanks a lot, Benny.
Benny raises the security gate and waves at Trevor as Trevor and Joe drive onto the lot. Exterior studio lot, night. Carrying a script, Trevor and Joe make their way across the lot, spotting a row of star trailers. They walk by, reading the names on each one until they find a huge double-wide marked Nick Cage. An electric golf cart painted Ferrari red with flames that reads, "Property of Nick Cage," sits parked outside. The guys go and knock on the door.
Enter.
Interior, Nick Cage's double-wide trailer / dojo, night. The guys enter to find Nick Cage dressed in a white karate gi as he trains with a pair of nunchucks. A blur of activity. He's fucking amazing with them. When he's finished, he bows to an invisible opponent. He drops the nunchucks, wipes sweat from his brow, and finally turns to acknowledge them.
Wow, you are really, really good with those.
Yeah, I learned to use those while filming my movie, Demon Seed.
I guess you must really like it if you keep training.
Oh, no. Anything I've ever learned or experienced in a movie becomes part of me forever. I learned to speak fluent Thai for Bangkok Dangerous. I still give tours at the Alcatraz for my days on the Rock. I own the plane from Con Air. And the baby from Raising Arizona, I raised it like my own.
Joe and Trevor shoot each other a look.
That's fucking
amazing. That's fucking amazing what it is.
Yeah, it is. Hey, thanks for coming.
You were expecting us?
Aren't you? Like writers?
Yeah, we are, but
great. Hey, I want to talk about the script.
That's why we're here. This movie you're shooting, it was our idea.
Yes, I know that.
No. See, we wrote the original version. It was a comedy.
Yeah, but then the fucking studio stole our idea to make this action version.
You're not Kurtzman Orsi?
No. That's the writing team they hired after they stole the idea from us. We're Munson and Booth. We're Booth Munson.
Munson Booth. You were right.
No matter, honestly, no matter how you arrange it, I've never heard of you.
That's okay. That's fine. I mean, the point is that it was our idea, and we wrote a comedy. So.
It's funny. Did you know comedy officially started with the Italian Commedia dell'arte? I became an expert in all things Italian while doing research for my titular character in Captain Corelli's Man the Limb.
Neither of the guys know what to say to this.
So, okay. Anyway, our script is really funny. We have it right here if you want to check it out.
Yeah, if you like it better, we thought you could, tell the studio you want to make our version instead.
Joe holds up the script. Nick takes it and then flips through it in one motion.
Oh, man. Hilarious. Really crackerjack, guys.
So, you already read it?
Getting 25 scripts a day after Moonstruck. It was either learn to speed read or insult the artist who labored for my approval. Always side with the artist.
So you'll do it.
Action's more my bread and butter these days. I haven't really done much comedy in a while.
But you're great at comedy. I mean, you were a genius in Raising Arizona.
I was, wasn't I? I raised that baby like my own.
No, you mentioned it.
They're interrupted as someone knocks on the door. Nick Cage opens it to find a young PA named Jimmy standing there.
Hey, we're ready for you on set in 5, Mr. Cage.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'll be right there after I void my bladder.
Oh, okay.
Weirded out, Jimmy turns and heads back to set. Nick Cage closes the door.
So, what do you think?
About what?
Doing the comedy version of the movie instead.
Oh, maybe if I'd read this first, but it would be dishonorable to break my contract now. Besides, the world wants to see Nicolas Cage, kicking ass, taking names. Thanks for coming, though. I bid you good fortune. May my God, whose name is Larry, smile upon you.
He hands the script back. Deflated, Joe and Trevor watch as Nick Cage strolls to the bathroom, opens the door, begins to pee with the door open. Joe sighs.
Well, I guess that's it.
He turns to go, not noticing Trevor, who walks over and picks up Nick Cage's nunchucks from the dojo mat, close on Nick Cage as he voids his bladder.
Oh, yeah. That is the ticket.
Behind him, Trevor whacks Nick Cage over the head with the nunchucks. Fists praise Trevor as an angry Nick Cage turns to him. For a moment, we think the blow had no effect, but then his eyes roll back in his head and he collapses from frame. Black. We're back up on Joe's mortified reaction.
Oh my God, what did you do?
He turns to Trevor, who is drenched.
Only what had to be done.
No. See, we can't revenge kill Nick Cage. None of this is his fault.
We're not revenge killing him, Joe.
Thank God.
We're kidnapping him.
What?
Yeah, we tried to reason with him, but that didn't work. So now the only way to get what we deserve is to kidnap Nick Cage and ransom him back to the studio for the money that we're owed.
That's crazy. You've officially gone batshit.
Well, they haven't given us any choice.
Yes, they have. The choice is to just let it go and stay out of prison.
Well, we're already in deep shit, so we might as well try the kidnapping thing.
No. You're in deep shit. Okay? I didn't do a fucking thing.
But you really think the cops are going to believe that? You got us on the lot. You're an accessory after the fact, at best.
If I go to jail, Alexa is going to kill me.
No one is going to jail.
Oh, really? Even if this stupid plan works and the studio gives us the money, what's going to keep Nick Cage from turning us in when we let him go?
2 words. Stockholm Syndrome. Okay? Once we form a bond between captor and captive, he won't want to turn us in. He'll get why we did it, and he'll be on our side.
Was this your plan the whole time?
I mean, it was more like a backup plan.
Oh my God.
Joe grabs his head and paces while Trevor bends and rolls an unconscious Nick Cage up like a burrito in his padded dojo mat.
Okay, Joe, focus. Okay, we got to get him out of here before that PA comes back. Grab an end and let's get him to the golf cart.
Joe stares at him, then hardly able to believe what he's fucking doing, he bends down and grabs an end. Outside of Nick Cage's double-wide trailer/dojo, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible, Trevor and Joe carry Nick Cage in the rolled-up mat over to the golf cart. As they load him into the back of it,
what's going on?
they freeze, then slowly turn to see Jimmy the PA standing behind them.
Nick Cage fell, hit his head while he was peeing.
Yeah. So we were just getting him to the medic.
Oh my God, Mr. Cage, you okay?
Concerned, Jimmy rushes over to check on an unconscious Nick Cage. Behind him, Trevor slowly raises Nick Cage's nunchucks from his waistband. Behind an oblivious Jimmy, a silent communication plays out. Joe vigorously shaking his head no, Trevor shrugging, what are we gonna do? Joe, not this. Trevor, we don't have a choice. Feeling bad about it, Trevor moves past Joe, raises the nunchucks, and whacks Jimmy over the head with them. Interior parking garage, Lexus parking spot, excuse me. An unconscious Jimmy the PA is already in the trunk of the car of the Lexus. Nearby, Joe and Trevor lift Nick Cage out of the golf cart, but as they load him into the trunk next to Jimmy, he begins to groggily come around.
Hey, what the heck's going on?
We'll explain later. Here, give me a sock.
What?
Give me a sock.
Joe takes his shoe off and hands Trevor a sock, who winces as he catches a whiff.
Oh, Jesus, dude, that's disgusting.
Oh, I have overactive sweat glands. Sorry.
Trevor proceeds to stuff the sock in Nick Cage's mouth as he's about to close the trunk.
Should we take the phone?
Yes. Good thinking, partner.
Trevor roots through Jimmy the PA's jeans. Finding his phone, he smashes it on the ground. This done, he repeats the process with Nick Cage coming out with a futuristic-looking gold iPhone.
Holy shit. Look at this thing. I don't even know what model it is.
Give it to me.
Joe takes the phone, points it at Nick's face, unlocking it.
What are you doing?
Turning it on airplane mode so they can't track him.
Art. Well, for a guy who didn't really want to kidnap anyone, you're pretty damn good at it.
Thanks.
Nick Cage's POV, the world goes dark as the trunk shuts. Exterior studio lot night, trying and failing to look completely normal, Trevor and Joe pull up to Benny's security booth. Trevor rolls the window down as Benny steps out.
Hey, Joe, that was fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It turned out they didn't need us after all. So.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, that's too bad.
Yeah. Well, you win some, you lose some.
Right. Well, just pop the trunk and we'll get you out of here.
Sorry, pop the trunk?
Yeah, I got to take a look to make sure you guys didn't steal anything.
Trevor and Joe look stricken, and then...
Joking, man. I'm so cool. Look at your faces, man. I know you guys would steal nothing. I was just kidding.
No, yeah. Of course not, never.
Drive safe, man.
Benny hits the button, raising the security gate to let them out. With a fake friendly wave and nod, Trevor rolls the window back up and drives off the lot. Inside Trevor's dented gold Lexus.
Now what?
Now we take him to your place.
My place.
Well, we can't take him to mine.
Why not?
Where would we keep him? I have a 1-bedroom apartment. You have a house with a garage.
A house with a garage that I share with my wife. You know, Alexa, who isn't going to be too excited about the idea that we just committed a felony.
She's an actor who's been crushed on by Hollywood too. She'll get it. Have you met Alexa? Trust me, man. She most definitely will not get it. Okay, you're getting agitated.
I'm not getting agitated.
Yeah, I thought this might happen. So take one of these. It'll calm you down.
Trevor offers a prescription pill bottle to Joe.
What is in this prescription pill bottle?
Xanax.
Is that why you're so calm?
I already took 3.
Joe looks at Trevor, takes the bottle, shakes the pill out, then starts to hand it back, but decides to take another. In Trevor's gold Lexus later, he sits beside Trevor and is a now completely chilled out Joe who smiles vaguely.
Hey man, you're right. You know, these things are amazing. You know, we got Nicolas Cage and a PA in the trunk of the car, and I'm totally calm about it.
Equally calm, Trevor just nods as they pull into the driveway of Joe's house.
I should probably park in the garage.
Yeah. I'll go open it. Then we'll tell Alexa what we did.
Trevor nods calmly as Joe gets out of the car. Alexa joins Joe and Trevor inside the house, who already sit at the dining room table.
Okay, I'm here. Oh, wait, why does it smell like pee?
Yep, yeah. So that's what we want to talk to you about. See, Trevor and I, okay, we sort of did something bad tonight.
How bad?
Not bad. Okay, well, where does kidnapping fall on a scale of 1 to 10?
You know what? I don't have time for this.
Time for what?
For one of your stupid little, writing scenarios where you two feed me a bunch of bullshit to see how someone would actually react in the situation. So.
Oh, no, it's not bullshit. We kidnapped Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay. Well, then where is he?
As Trevor and Joe point towards the garage.
Oh my God. Joe!
We're inside the garage where Joe, Alexa, and Trevor stand at the back of the Lexus. As Alexa stares down into the trunk where a pissed off looking Nick Cage, still rolled up like a burrito in the dojo mat with Joe's sock in his mouth, lies next to a scared Jimmy the PA.
What have you done?
They stole our movie. We had to do something.
You? Just shut up. Okay, you said that you kidnapped Nicolas Cage, so who the hell is this other guy?
No one, just the PA.
He caught us as we were talking to Nick. As we were taking Nick.
Okay, well, we're all going to prison. You do realize that, right?
No. No one's going to prison. Trevor has a plan.
Oh, really? Okay, well, what's that?
2 words. Stockholm Syndrome. Once we form a bond between captor and captive, he won't want to turn us in because
he'll get why we did it and be on our side.
Okay, well, that is the dumbest fucking thing I have ever heard.
Maybe you should give her one of those pills that you gave me.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I've got plenty.
Trevor gets the prescription pill bottle of Xanax back out, shakes one out for Alexa. Cut to their house later. Trevor, Joe, and Alexa sit around the dining room table again. They're all really calm.
Oh, wow. Those things are amazing.
Right.
Yeah, so like what's the end game here?
We're going to keep him here until Joe and I can contact the studio and ransom Nick Cage back to them.
Okay, well, what if they don't pay?
Well, they will. We have their star. The production will be hemorrhaging money until they get him back.
So what do you want from me?
Please just keep an eye on the hostages and make sure they don't escape while Joe and I go to Home Depot and get something to keep Nick in.
Like what?
A cage.
A Nicolas Cage cage? Okay, fine.
Seriously? You okay with this?
Yeah, Well, you already did it, Joe. You know, you kidnapped Nicolas Cage and involved me in a felony. So it's done. So at this point, we might as well, you know, see if we can get the money that you're actually owed.
Told you she'd get it.
Interior Home Depot night. Trevor and Joe stand in front of an assortment of flimsy-looking dog cages.
Which one should we get?
No, none. I mean, these won't work. Did you see that guy? He's a badass. He'll tear through a flimsy dog cage like it's warm butter. Okay, we need something that will hold a person. Come on.
Looking around, they spot an employee and go over.
Excuse me. Do you guys sell any bigger cages?
Bigger?
Yeah, like for a bear.
But not as strong as a bear.
Right. But still strong. You know, just, you know, like weak for a bear.
Like the size and strength of a small bear, but without the claws.
And smart.
Real smart.
So like a cage that would hold a person?
What? Nah, God, no. Yeah, you heard him? He thinks that we want a cage for a person.
That's crazy. Okay, sorry, you're crazy. No, we need a cage for a medium-sized, moderately strong, above average, intelligent bear with no claws.
Do you have something like that?
No.
Okay. Thank you for your help anyway. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Creep the fuck out, the employee moves on.
What are we gonna do?
I guess we just build a cage.
I don't know how to build a cage. I'm a fucking writer.
Which means you're creative and smart. Come on, we can figure out how to build a cage. How hard can it be? We just get some bars and we weld it around it.
I can't weld, man. I got an F in set design in college.
Fine, then we'll just chain him to the wall.
Okay. Yeah. Like Sloth in the Goonies.
Yes.
Seeing the same employee move past, Joe stops him.
Excuse me. Us again. Just wondering. Y'all sell trains?
Like for chaining a bear to a wall?
Interior Home Depot, black and white security camera footage night. On the surveillance camera, Joe and Trevor pay for their supplies: a thick chain, a wall bolt, a lock, some tools, duct tape. Interior Joe's garage night. Trevor puts the finishing touches on Nick's neck harness. Indeed, Nick, his arms and legs securely duct taped, is now chained to the garage wall like Sloth in the Goonies.
What's it like going through life so tall, dumb, and ugly? You have to keep a trash can beside the bed so the ladies can puke into it after sex.
Clearly agitated, Trevor does his best to ignore him and continues to work on the harness.
Killing you will be a public service. Enjoy the time you have left, because when I get free, and I will, I'm gonna drill a hole in your head and fuck your brain.
Nick is interrupted as Joe enters.
Oh, good. Joe's here. Now I can kill 2 shitbirds with 1 stone.
Like, hey, I know you're upset right now, but I hope you can understand that we don't wish you any harm. We just did what we had to do because Pollock screwed us. But as soon as we get the money we're owed, we're going to let you go.
You remind me of my friend, J.J. Abrams.
I do.
If he was a talentless and fat piece of shit, I'm surprised more people haven't heard of you two. You'd think they remember 2 goofy, feckless fucks like you.
Now Alexa enters.
I found it.
Oh, thank God.
She hands something to Trevor. We see that it's a bright red S&M ball gag.
You just had this laying around?
Yeah, nah, it's a joke gift.
Right.
Nick Cage. Alexa's effects on him are immediate. Everything in him changes. Everything.
What? Who is this enchantress?
Wait, me?
Her?
That's Joe's wife.
Wait. Hold the fuck on. He's married to Joe. How the hell does an exquisite being like this end up with someone like that?
Yeah, no one really knows.
Yeah, that's a great point, Trevor. Yeah, no one does know. I guess I'm just lucky because I definitely don't deserve her. You know, she actually is way out of my league. I'm pretty much surprised she hasn't left me by now.
You're so pathetic.
Agreed.
Okay, listen. So now that he's chained up like Sloth in the Goonies, now what?
Now, Joe and I call that cum-stained Pollock and demand the ransom.
Well, what if they trace the call?
They won't, because we're going to leave the house and make the call using Nick Cage's phone.
Joe pulls out Nick's futuristic gold iPhone.
By the way, what model is this?
An iPhone 20. They only make 5 in existence because it's made from Area 51 alien technology. It's unbreakable and never has to be charged. Steve Jobs gave it to me as a personal gift.
The kind of perks you get for being famous.
Yeah, which is exactly why we're doing this, to get what we deserve.
Nodding, Joe holds the phone up to Nick Cage's face, unlocking it.
Stop doing that!
Trevor raises the ball gag to place it over Nick Cage's head.
Don't you fucking dare!
Ignoring him, Trevor inserts the ball gag, silencing him. Off a fuming, bound and gagged Nick Cage, we match to a bound and gagged Pat Pollock. Pull back to reveal we are inside the Chateau Marmont in a bungalow. Pollock is stretched out on a rack in a creepy leather S&M getup as his escort in a latex dominatrix outfit spanks his naked ass with a riding crop. And the escort says...
That's not me, right? No.
Romy.
You're on mute.
Do you want me to do it?
Again, I had another client. You're a worthless piece of shit. Best part is you ran down your mother's ass crack.
Pollock agrees. He loves it. He knows what a piece of shit he is. But his moan is interrupted by Abby, his assistant, who enters in a dress and heels.
Oh, no, your wife!
Pollock spits the ball gag out.
Damn it, you're not supposed to barge in and pretend to be my wife until she gets the strap on out.
I've got Nick Cage calling.
Sorry, mistress, gotta take this one. Phone.
Still strapped to the rack, Abby holds the phone up to Pollock's ear so he can talk.
Nicky, buddy, they told me you left without telling anyone. We were worried. What happened?
Split screen, Burbank Airport, Hollywood Way, night. In Joe's leased Mazda, Trevor and Joe lean over Nick Cage's gold iPhone, which is on speaker. As Joe speaks into it, doing a strange but somewhat familiar accent.
We have Nicolas Cage.
What the hell are you doing?
Liam Neeson in Taken, just so he doesn't recognize my voice.
It's pretty good.
What the fuck do you mean you have Nicolas Cage? Who is this Irish?
We are the men who hold your $100 million movie in the palms of our hands. Oh, that's you. My bad.
Okay.
So bad.
Are the men who hold your $100 million movie in the palm of our hands.
Hans Gruber?
Trevor nods. That's not bad. Joe gives him a thumbs up.
We have a very specific set of skills. We're not paid for those skills, so now we have taken Nicolas Cage. If you don't pay us $5 million. Don't
forget we're splitting it.
I meant make that $10 million. This national treasure is going to get his face off. Did you get the reference?
Yes, I got the reference, you dumb fucks. But I don't just have $10 million laying around. Need time.
You have until 10 a.m. at which time we will call you with the account to wire the money into. Once we have confirmation we've received it, your star will be returned in good health.
Well, I'm not just going to take your word for that. I'm going to need proof of life. And I don't mean that Meg Ryan piece of shit.
Proof of life will be provided. But we have no problem killing him. So do not go to the media or the police. If you do, Nick Cage is fucking dead.
Feeling pretty happy with themselves, the guys fist bump. Edgy. Interior Joe and Alexa's house garage night. Alexa enters the garage holding a stun gun in one hand and an assortment of vegan food on a platter in the other. She walks over to a bound and gagged Nick Cage.
I thought you might be hungry, but don't try anything.
As a warning, Alexa triggers the stun gun. It crackles. This done, she sets the tray down and removes the ball gag from his mouth.
Oh, thank you. What's your name?
Why?
I am begging you to tell me. Otherwise, I won't know what to whisper to the spirits of my ancestors while I sleep. I'll simply say, I long for a nameless angel.
It's Alexa.
Alexa.
Yes.
Dear God, that is a beautiful name. Tell me, Alexa, how does an exquisite angel such as yourself become involved in such an unseemly affair?
You know what? I have been asking myself the same question, Nick. You know, I blame Trevor because he's the hothead. This whole stupid idea was his idea, and Joe, he goes along with it like he always does, you know? And here I am.
Well, if you ask me, a real man would never risk endangering his lady fair by dragging her into this sordid situation like this. Not ever.
You know what? I have to say that you are way more charming than I expected.
I get that a lot. Are you an actor? I feel like I've seen you before.
Oh, I used to be. I was on Mad Men for 4 seasons.
Yes, of course. Cracker Jack show.
Yes. Okay, but then when it ended and I wasn't getting many parts, and I decided to pursue my second love, and I opened a raw vegan restaurant. Cucumber cider.
Nick nods and she feeds it to him.
Oh my God. You made this? Delectable. You're a gosh darn gourmet. I had no idea raw vegan food could taste this amazing.
Oh, thanks. That's actually so nice to hear. The restaurant, it hasn't actually taken off. So
because it takes the proletariat 20 years to catch up with genius. They don't deserve you. You, Alexa, you belong in the Louvre.
Off Alexa's charmed smile, we're back at the Chateau Marmont bungalow. A panicked Pollock hurriedly gets dressed in his suit.
Should I call the police? We still have that FBI field director who consulted on the Clooney movie on retainer.
No, not yet. We need more information first. Let's get to the office. You go to legal, get the insurance details, while I pull up tracking numbers of the red band teaser.
Abby nods, getting it. Taking a vial of Coke from his suit pants, Pollock unscrews the top, does a toot, and then puts it away without offering any to her.
Anything else?
Yeah, it's going to be an all-nighter. Call my wife and tell her I'm working late.
I already did. That's what she thinks you're doing.
All right. Good.
Interior Joe and Alexa's house foyer. Night. Trevor and Joe enter, feeling pretty good about things. We track with them as they make their way through the house and down the hall to the garage.
Alexa?
Joe is about to open the garage door, but stops as he hears,
Close your eyes. Just for a moment. What am I doing?
You're touching me.
Touch. How do you know?
Because I feel it.
You should trust that. You don't trust it enough.
Alarmed, Joe slams to the door and into the garage, where Alexa and Nick Cage, still chained at the neck, stand several feet apart, reading a movie script. Trevor stops in the doorway.
Oh, you're back.
What's going on?
We're reading the world famous scene from my international box office smash, City of Angels.
Why are you doing this scene together?
Because your wife is an artist, a true conduit of the inner truth, and she needs to share that gift. I told you people would resent your talent.
I don't resent. Can I talk to you upstairs?
He walks out. Alexa follows, leaving Trevor to watch Nick Cage, who begins to sing "In the Arms of the Angel" as he goes. Interior, Alexa and Joe's bedroom night. Alexa enters the cozy bedroom to find Joe waiting.
Hey, what is your deal?
I just don't, think you should be hanging out with Nick Cage.
I wasn't hanging out with Nick Cage, okay? I was watching The Hostage like you wanted.
And reading a tender love scene.
Oh, it's not a tender love scene. It's the midpoint of Act 2.
So you don't have a crush on him?
No. God. Don't be ridiculous. I don't have a crush on Nicolas Cage, okay, Joe, all right? But I do think that what we're doing is wrong, and I think we should let him go as soon as possible.
Let him go? Are you crazy? He doesn't have Stockholm syndrome yet. That was the plan, okay? He's gonna turn us in.
No, he won't. No, Nick will understand. He's kind and charming. Not to mention, he's just so bold and decisive.
And oh my God. First, don't call him Nick, too. You do have a thing for him. He's like 50.
Okay, all right. You know that I've always gravitated toward older men. I can't help that. But just because I may be mildly attracted to Nicolas Cage doesn't mean that I'm ever going to act on it.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry for being jealous, but you can't just let him go. We made the ransom call. We're in too deep now. Besides, Trevor will be really, really pissed.
Oh my God. Can you just grow a pair and stand up for yourself for once? Trevor is not in charge here, Joe.
I'm just saying, we already made the call, so we might as well see how it plays out. What difference is another day gonna make?
Fine. But if all of this goes south, then we have to pin this on Trevor.
What? No, we can't do that.
Oh, come on, Joe. Do you think he'd take the rap for you, huh? Because he wouldn't. He wouldn't. Trevor only worries about Trevor, okay? And I mean, I know that he's your best friend and partner. And I love the guy. I really do. But if it's him or us, fuck him.
I love it when you get all Lady Macbeth.
Joe moves in to kiss her. Alexa puts her hand up like a stop sign.
Okay. Are you seriously trying to have sex with me while Nicolas Cage is chained in our garage?
Oh, is it bad timing?
Yeah.
Cut to Pollock's office, late night, very coked up. Pollock sits with several files open on the desk. Abby pores over more documents.
How can we be tracking this badly in China?
Boys in 14 to 17 in middle-class families show low to moderate income based on initial campaign materials.
Jesus, we've already sunk $160 million into this rat fuck production. We should have gotten The Rock.
Maybe we still can. If Nick Cage is unavailable, it's force majeure, act of God. We can't be held responsible. We could start from scratch and write this entire disaster off our records.
What are you saying?
I think you know what I'm saying.
Proud of his protege's sheer Machiavellian deviousness, Pollock grins at her.
You're gonna run a fucking studio one day.
Exterior, Joe and Alexa's house, Burbank, next morning. Birds chirp as the sun rises over the cute suburban home. A jogger passes by. All seems normal. You'd never guess Nick Cage was chained up in the garage. Inside Joe and Alexa's house in the kitchen, Joe sits at the breakfast table as Trevor goes and pours himself a glass of wine.
Maybe we should stay sharp.
It's for my anxiety. I'm out of Xanax. Besides, I'm not a fucking surgeon. If I didn't want to drink on the job, I wouldn't have become a screenwriter.
Joe, you guys better come see this.
Carrying his wine, Trevor follows Joe into the living room, where Alexa is watching the morning news on a flat screen. A female news anchor reads a report in front of a grinning image of Nicolas Cage.
The studio confirmed reports that actor Nicolas Cage mysteriously went missing from the set of his most recent movie, Made to Kill, last night.
What? We explicitly told Pollock not to talk to the media.
I knew we couldn't trust that motherfucker to keep his mouth shut. Never trust an executive.
Authorities are looking into the disappearance, but say it's too early to know if there's been any foul play.
Alexa turns the TV off and the three look at each other.
Well, that's just great. Okay, now the whole world knows about it, and we're all one step closer to life in prison. So good job.
No. Don't worry. We'll handle it. We'll go call Pollock right now.
Trevor nods. Alexa just watches as Joe hurries out. Chugging his morning wine, Trevor hands the empty glass to Alexa and follows after Joe. Inside Pat Pollock's showy penthouse office, eyes closed, Abby sits calmly at her desk, as if in meditation. A phone buzzes. The screen reads, Nicky Cage.
It's them.
Pollock crawls out from under the desk, wiping his face as he answers.
Calling a little early, are we not?
Intercut, Joe and Trevor in Griffith Park morning, holding Nick Cage's gold iPhone between them. Joe and Trevor lean against Joe's Mazda.
What part of "we will kill Nick Cage if you don't go to the media" didn't you understand?
Please, one of the biggest movie stars in the world went missing from a set. It's not exactly the kind of thing you can keep quiet. We had to tell the media. But the cops don't know anything. Only that he's missing.
Yeah, you better keep it that way.
Well, here's the thing, chaps. I'm working through the financials, and I just don't think we can make it work at this price point.
Joe and Trevor look to each other. Joe drops the accent.
Meaning what?
I can't pay you what you're asking.
The hell you can't? You're a big fucking Hollywood studio. You have a shit ton of money.
I see you don't understand how corporate financing works.
No. I understand perfectly. I worked in corporate financing at the studio for 6 years when I first moved to LA.
Realizing he said too much, Joe clamps a hand over his mouth.
You were an employee. What's your name?
His name is fuck you, asshole. Pay up or Nick Cage is dead.
It's not happening, boys. My hands are tied. So sorry we couldn't do business.
Pollock starts to hang up.
Wait. What if we lower the price?
What are we talking about?
Please hold. Look, we were never going to get 10 million for a comedy script, but if we come down, he'll see that we're collaborative.
Fine.
Joe unmutes the phone.
We can come down to 6 million.
Wait. I'm here with my money guy. No, sorry. We can't make those numbers work either.
2 million.
No.
Come on. The studio wipes its ass with more than that every day.
True, but unfortunately not today.
Okay, you realize we are going to murder Nick Cage if we don't come to an agreement. That's clear, right?
I love Nicholas, and I would do anything for him. But the numbers are the numbers.
Amused, Pollock and Abby look at each other waiting. Growing desperate, Trevor and Joe look like they might pull their hair out.
Okay, how about scale? we'll hand them over to you for Writers Guild minimum. That's like $72K. That's a great fucking deal in our final offer.
Writers Guild minimums.
Yeah.
Well, that is a pretty good offer, but I'm afraid I can't take it. Sorry we can't do business. Have a great day. Give my best to Nick.
Stunned, fucking speechless, Trevor and Joe stare at each other as the line goes dead. Inside Joe and Alexa's house, day. Still speechless, Trevor and Joe pull into the driveway in Joe's Mazda. They zombie walk in to see Alexa just standing there.
Don't be mad.
What did you do?
Out of fucking nowhere, Nick Cage grabs Joe. His eyes are wild, his nostrils flare, his teeth are bared.
Alexa, I'm sorry you have to see this.
He slams Joe's head into the front door, sending his glasses flying. Joe hits the floor.
You promised to let them go and not hurt them.
Yeah, I'm afraid I lied about that. Cage rage activated!
Nick turns to see Trevor, who holds his hands up, half in a boxing stance, half in prayer for mercy. Nick Cage fly kicks him square in the chest. 300, this is Sparta style. Super slow-mo, Trevor goes flying across the room, shattering the TV as he crashes into the entertainment stand. Nick turns back to see Joe, who's just barely standing up from his head hitting the floor. Nick Cage grabs Joe's hair, elbowing him in the face. His hands fly up to grab his nose, so Nick Cage punches him in the dick. Hands go to his dick, punch to the nose. Hands back up, punch to the dick. Hands back down. Joe drops to his knees. Nick grabs his head with both hands and slams Joe's face into his crotch. Joe hits the floor as if Nick Cage's crotch was the fiercest assault. Turning, Nick Cage sees a fucked up Trevor attempting to escape into the garage. He gives chase. Nick Cage catches Trevor near the gold Lexus. Seething, Nick begins to bash in the new car's windows using Trevor's head. Barely conscious, a bloody Trevor crashes to the cement floor. Noticing his gold iPhone poking out of Trevor's pocket, Nick bends down and grabs it. He steps on Trevor's chest, holding him down, as Alexa and a fucked up Joe, still missing his glasses, rush into the garage. Nick notices Joe's wonky eye.
Nice. Did I do that to your eye?
Oh, no. No, you didn't do that. That's just my lazy eye. My glasses corrected.
Okay, well, let's find out because it's freaking me out. Alexa, I know it wasn't your idea to get involved in any of this.
No.
Now would probably be a good time for you to vominos while I call Pollock and let him know I'm okay.
Unlocking the phone with his face, Nick dials Pollock's number. As it rings, Alexa turns to go.
You're going?
Well, you know what? It doesn't make sense for us both to go to prison, Joe. I mean, someone has to earn money for your defense, so I'll be at my parents'.
Alexa gives Joe a peck and exits. Hearing Pollock pick up, Nick opens his mouth to speak, but before he can...
Are you two fucking idiots? How clear do I have to make this? I'm not paying the ransom, no matter how pathetically low you go. Kill Nick Cage. Feed him to a mountain lion. I don't care. Because the truth is, I am delighted I never have to work with that demanding, coddled, overpaid hack again. Fuck him, and fuck you too.
Click. Stunned and hurt, Nick slowly lowers the phone.
I don't understand!
Pollock refused to pay the ransom.
You asking for, man? Like 100 million?
$10.
That's kind of a lot. I mean, not as much as I make for a single movie ever, but still objectively substantial.
Yeah, but then we lowered it to 6.
Then 2.
Then WGA minimum.
You wouldn't pay fucking scale to save my life? Do you know how much fucking money I've made that piece of shit studio?
He throws his gold iPhone at the wall. It doesn't shatter, but instead bounces off the ground and magically flies back to his hand like Thor's hammer.
Goddamn unbreakable alien iPhone!
He takes his foot off Trevor. He leans down. Trevor winces in fear, but Nick Cage smiles a tender smile.
Me again. For the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You're my brother now.
Grabbing hold of Trevor's head, Nick Cage kisses him full on the mouth. Not gay, just Nick Cage.
You kiss your brother like that?
I kiss everyone like that.
Going to Joe, Nick grabs his head, kisses him on the mouth as well. Joe wipes it away.
All right, let's go to my place and make a fucking plan.
For what?
How we're going to kill Pollock.
I mean, it seems a little extreme.
Maybe we can just scare him real good, you know?
Scare him? No! He tried to kill me. So now the law of Cage dictates that I return the favor.
The law of Cage?
That's my religion I spoke of earlier. You're both disciples now. And the 12th Cage Mandment reads, treachery only ends by cutting the head off of the snake. That means killing Pollock and destroying the studio he leads. Hell, by the time we're done, all of Hollywood might cease to exist.
And on Nick Cage, as Trevor and Joe stare an oh fuck look. Helicopter view. It's magic hour. Lovely. High above, we follow the gold Lexus as it makes its way along the PCH and into Malibu. Exterior, Nick Cage's $20 million Malibu mansion, magic hour. The beat-up gold Lexus pulls into a drive in front of Nick's gorgeous ocean view mansion. Trevor and Joe get out and follow Nick up the walk and wait as he unlocks the front door and flings it open with a grand gesture.
Come on in. Make yourselves at home. Cage casa es su cage casa.
Trevor and Joe step inside. Inside Nick's mansion, we move through the place. It's fucking amazing. It's filled with memorabilia from Nick's many movies.
I'll make us some fresh refreshments. Walk around. You can touch anything that isn't expensive. That's a Nicolas Cage joke. It's all expensive.
He exits towards the kitchen.
What the fuck are we doing here?
I think we're planning a murder.
I don't want to plan a murder. This was supposed to be a kidnapping. God damn it. This is what actors always do. They come in and they take over with fucking bad ideas. I mean, this was our heist.
I know, but now the hostage is on our team, so we need to roll with the punches.
No. What we need to do is get the fuck out of here. This thing has gone off the rails.
If we lose Nick Cage, the whole thing falls apart, all right? So we'll do what we always do with the actors. We'll hear his bad ideas, then pivot back to a plan that doesn't land us in jail or in hell.
Hey, brother, we can get Alexa to bring us some of those Cracker Jack cucumber sliders.
God, I'm already in hell.
We're in Nick Cage's Malibu mansion in the evening. Finished with their confab, the guys join Nick Cage in the kitchen where he prepares tea in an ancient-looking forged clay teapot.
It's a cool teapot, man.
It was made from clay found in the Yaojing region of China, also known as the Jisha or purple clay. It dates back to the Ming Dynasty in the 14th century. It's literally priceless. See?
Sure.
Nick Cage pours Joe a cup. Joe drinks, grimaces at the taste, but it's too polite to say anything. Nick offers some to Trevor.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Are you?
Yeah.
Nick Cage and Trevor have a long, uncomfortable stare-off. Finally.
All right, fine, I'll have some.
Please, Nick Cage pours a cup for Trevor. Trevor drinks. Disgusting.
Come on. I'll give you guys the tour.
Wait, aren't you gonna have some?
No. I only drink water imported from a deep cave found in the mountains of Chile and Patagonia. The purest water on the planet. I haven't aged a day since I started drinking it. It's a medical fact. Come on.
Joe and Trevor follow through the hallway. The guys stare at the Declaration of Independence, which sits behind thick glass in a laser alarmed case.
Wow, that looks like the real deal.
Indeed it is.
What?
I switched them during the filming of National Treasure. I just wanted to see if I could do it, and it turns out I could.
Yeah, right.
See, that right there is why I can get away with literally anything. No one believes Nick Cage would do something like that, but he would.
Inside an upstairs room later, the guys stand with Nicolas Cage alongside a thick glass case that holds what appears to be a jetpack with shoulder-mounted machine guns.
That right there, the machine gun jetpack they gave me for my movie Kick-Ass. And before you ask, yes, it works. Hey, do you think about using that to kill Pollock?
Listen, about killing Pollock.
Joe is cut short as his stomach suddenly growls loudly. He frowns and grabs his belly.
All right, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, I don't either. I suddenly feel kind of queasy.
Yeah, don't be afraid. That's just the ayahuasca kicking in.
The what?
What?
The tea I gave you. It's ayahuasca. Powerful psychedelic medicine and traditional spiritual medicine ceremonies by the indigenous peoples of the Amazon basin.
You roofied us?
That's messed up, man.
I apologize for the subterfuge, but I need to know what you two are really going to do if we get into war together. I need to know your fears, your flaws. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if you bare your souls to me during the ayahuasca trip.
Joe turns to say something, but when he opens his mouth, he projectile vomits instead. Watching this, Trevor tries to comment, but instead he projectile vomits. Then Joe, then Trevor, then Joe, then Trevor.
That's it! Get it out!
Oh my God, what's happening? This is terrible.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, Joe. It's just part of the journey.
Oh, is it almost over?
Absolutely not. It is just getting started.
Nick Cage's voice and face begin to work creepily.
Sorry, I'm a trained Sean. I'll see you through. Yeah.
Off Trevor and Joe's terrified faces smash to Exterior, a desert. We're in Trevor's ayahuasca trip. It's daytime. Nick Cage, dressed in Obi-Wan style desert robes, leads a parched Trevor through the deep sand. A countdown timer hovers above Trevor's head. It reads 1092. Noticing it, Trevor stops and tries to find an angle where he can read the number on the clock, but finds it's impossible.
What the hell is that?
You seek? There, forget it. There you will find.
He points ahead. Trevor now sees a shimmering oasis.
Wait, aren't you coming?
On your own, Joe, you are. Or check on Joe. Wait, on your own, you are. Or check on Joe, I must.
Frustrated and angry, Trevor turns and trudges towards the oasis. Exterior, lavish Bel Air estate, Trevor's ayahuasca trip, dusk. The sun is setting. Trevor has made it to the oasis. As he approaches, he takes in the lush landscaping that surrounds a Spanish-style mansion. White curtains billow in the breeze as he makes his way to the back where a tanned figure in white linen lounges on a chair beside an infinity pool. Trevor walks around so he can see the person to discover the person in the chair is a happy, relaxed, gray-haired version of himself. This version of Trevor also has a countdown clock over his head, but it reads 9600.
Hey, buddy. Glad you made it. Been waiting for you. Who the hell are you? Isn't it obvious I'm you? Well, I'm happy you, or more specifically, you're angry me. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking about that right there. That constant anger you're always experiencing. What's that about? Well, maybe I'm angry because I'm tired of getting shit on all the time.
Nat, I'm going to jump in and read Happy.
Okay.
Who's cheating on you?
Hollywood?
Let me tell you and drop some knowledge on you, man. My dude, for years, I considered a good day in my life to be a good day in Hollywood. 10 years in, I had about 5 good days because Hollywood doesn't feed you. It eats you. It's a mirage. It lets you wander around in the desert, chasing after it in the desperate attempts to quench your thirst. But you never can because it's always just out of reach.
Don't give me that metaphorical bullshit. What's your point?
My point is, you're angry at Hollywood, but the person you should be angry at is you.
Me? For what?
You've been obsessed with making it in Hollywood. So obsessed that you've dropped the ball on everything else. There's a lot more to life in Hollywood. The day I realized that, my whole life transformed.
Trevor mulls this over as Jennifer Lawrence, yes, Jennifer Lawrence, now steps out from the house in a plush white robe.
Darling, I didn't know if you wanted the crab or the lobster, so I just had Wolfgang prepare both.
Thank you, my wife, Jennifer Lawrence.
They kiss. When they part, she notices Trevor.
Who's this?
Nobody important. Just ignore him.
Okay, I'm gonna take a dip until it's time for dinner.
Stunned, Trevor gapes as Jennifer Lawrence drops her robe and executes a perfect dive into the pool. Cut to a hallway, Joe's ayahuasca trip. Dressed as a bellhop, Nick Cage leads down the plushy carpeted hall of a 5-star hotel. As they stop outside a suite, we see Joe now has a huge Mario Brothers mustache.
After you, monsieur.
Joe steps inside, but rather than an opulent suite, he finds himself in what appears to be a stark prison cell. Looking down, he now sees that he wears an orange prison jumpsuit.
Hey, what's the...
Concerned, he turns back to see Nick Cage, now dressed as a prison guard, and grinning as he pulls the cell door shut. Clang!
Nice dash.
Joe turns around to see his cellmate, Tom Hanks, who is also in an orange jumpsuit and sitting on a bunk.
In here, we call them prison pussies.
Tom Hanks laughs like he's joking.
Tom Hanks?
That's right.
You know, Joe versus the Volcano was one of my favorite movies.
Oh, thanks. That's nice to hear. You know, not everyone shares that opinion.
Where are we?
Well, it's pretty obvious. We're in prison.
Yeah, but why?
Tom Hanks hops down and gestures around the cell.
Well, this cell is a cage of your own making, Joe. A psychogenic representation of your flawed modus operandi, if you will.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't understand. Well, I guess if I have to be in prison, at least it's, lucky that I get to be cellmates with the nicest guy in Hollywood.
Well, that's you're wrong, Joe. I'm not a nice guy.
You're not.
Nice guys are weak. Their only concern is being perceived as nice. They don't want to upset anyone or rock the boat, even when they're getting fucked. These guys are pussies. And you know what happens to pussies, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure I totally agree. I think you can be a nice guy and not necessarily get fucked.
Well, you're wrong, and I can prove it.
How?
Well, you consider yourself a nice guy, right? Well, pal, you're about to get fucked.
Joe's smile slides up his face as Tom Hanks moves over to him. He shakes his head no. Tom Hanks nods yes.
Joe, don't worry. It'll be fun. Just pretend you're Joe, and I'm the volcano. Any questions?
Terrified, Joe goes to bang on the cell door.
Help! Help! Let me out! Help!
I'm shocked Tom Hanks hasn't signed on already. We smash back to exterior lavish Bel Air estate. Trevor's ayahuasca trip evening. Trevor watches Jennifer Lawrence swim perfect laps in the pool.
How did you get Jennifer Lawrence? Everyone knows no one fucks the writer.
They do when you have 2 Emmys, an Oscar, and 3 Golden Globes. Arthur Miller got Marilyn Monroe, David Kelly married Michelle Pfeiffer, and Colin Jost bagged Scarlett Johansson. It happens all the time, but it's not going to happen to you.
Why not?
No lady wants to be with a self-absorbed grumpy Gus. That's why Bonnie left you. Not to mention the fact that it's not healthy, my dude. You've got to let anger go, or you're not going to have time to marry Jennifer Lawrence after writing a part for her for which she wins an Oscar because you'll already be dead.
Happy Trevor gestures to the hovering countdown clock.
What the hell is that anyway?
That's your countdown clock, buddy. That's how many days you have left to live before your massive anger-induced coronary.
What does it say?
Looks like you've got 1,092. Ooh, you've got maybe 1 days left. That's less than 3 years, my dude. Not too good. Tick, tick, tick.
Water drips onto the concrete as Jennifer Lawrence pulls herself out of the pool. Happy, gray-haired Trevor scoops her robe up and holds it open for her.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome, my wife, Jennifer Lawrence.
They kiss lovingly. Happy Trevor takes her hand and turns to Trevor.
You can find your way out, right, pal? Got it?
Trevor watches as his happy counterpart and Jennifer Lawrence sweep into the magnificent house. Looking down, he sees his own angry reflection scowling back at him from the pool. As he kneels down to get a closer look, his water reflection reaches up, it grabs his head, and yanks a screaming Trevor down into the pool with a splash. Trevor is trapped underwater. He's drowning. We smash to Nick Cage's Malibu mansion, upstairs bathroom. Trevor's face is, with his face painted like a tribal shaman, Nick Cage watches as Trevor, in the throes of his hallucination, kneels beside Nick's golden toilet and thrashes about with his head in the bowl. Nick nods. We track with him as he turns and exits into the bedroom, where Joe talks to a tall floor lamp he seems to believe is Tom Hanks.
Please don't make me do this, Mr. Hanks.
A pause as the floor lamp gives Joe an answer only he can hear. We watch as Joe obeys the lamp's order and slowly sinks to his knees.
You guys are doing great. It's only 5 or 6 more hours to go.
Cut to exterior Nick Cage's $20 million mansion the next morning. The sun rises over an amazing ocean view. Inside, Joe wakes up looking pretty rough for the wear, and he sees an energized Trevor pacing the room. Trevor seems a little different, lighter. Seeing that Joe's awake.
Dude, that trip was fucking crazy.
I feel like somebody scrubbed my brain with a Brillo pad.
I had a vision where I met my older self, and I was like happy and successful and married to Jennifer Lawrence, who I apparently met after writing a movie that won her an Oscar.
What about me? Did I co-write it? I mean, were we still partners, right?
I don't know, Joe. We didn't talk about you in the hallucination.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I probably co-wrote it, so.
Sure, let's say that. Yeah. Anyway, I had this clock that hovered over my head that was counting my days down, and happy me told angry me I had to make some big changes or I was going to die in 3 years.
What kind of changes? Not like writing partner changes or anything like that.
No. God, I've been self-involved, and you probably don't know this because I hide it so well. But the truth is, I have some anger issues.
Oh, you do? You think?
Yeah. It's part of the reason Bonnie left me. I've let my obsession with making it in Hollywood turn me into a bitter asshole. And the message was, I've got to get a handle on it before it kills me. Holy shit. What was your trip like?
What was mine? Was it? Oh, no, I don't remember it. So
I don't remember, dude. We just tripped balls for like 8 hours. You don't remember anything?
I just told you I don't know. I don't remember it. Okay, it's like it's all just a big blanks. It's all a big blank. Not thick at all. Just a regular blank, regular size blank.
Hey, I hear voices up there. Breakfast is almost ready, so ding ding, come and get it.
Oh, boy, I'm starving. Let's go eat.
Side-eyeing the Tom Hanks lamp, Joe hustles out, leaving a suspicious Trevor looking after him. In the kitchen, sunlight streams in through the open patio doors that look out onto the ocean. Joe and Trevor enter to find Nick Cage cooking up a delicious-looking breakfast. Seeing them, Nick walks over, pulls Joe into a big, heartfelt bear hug.
I saw you last night, brother. I saw your soul. And I know you now.
Nick Cage kisses him on the mouth, then goes to Trevor, who tries to avoid the kiss, but Nick Cage grabs his head and plants one on him too.
I know you now.
Trevor wipes his mouth as Nick returns to cooking.
Sit! Breakfast is almost ready. I hope you have an appetite.
The guys take a seat at the table as Nick begins to bring the food over.
Who's the extra plate for?
That's for the lovely, delightful Dilexa.
Oh.
Joe's confused expression.
Did I hear my name?
Joe and Trevor look over as Alexa now enters wearing Nick's monogrammed silk bathrobe.
What are you doing here?
You don't remember?
I mean, it's all a blur after I puked my guts out. Wait, did you two have sex last night?
It was way more than sex. Sex would be a demeaning expression. It was a cosmic experience. Yeah. We came together like twin stars fusing into an explosive supernova.
But mostly it was just sex.
Wait, I can't believe you had sex with Nicolas Cage behind my back.
What are you talking about, Joe? The whole thing was your idea.
Oh, right. Why the hell would it be my idea for you to have sex with Nicolas Cage? I would never have that idea. I hate that idea.
But you did. During the ceremony, you told me to call and invite Alexa over. When she got there, you got us all together. And then you said...
Flash to a crazy-eyed Joe talks to camera.
Life's too short for petty jealousy. Look, I care about both of you. And if you're sexually attracted to each other, then I want you to be together with each other sexually.
Back to the kitchen as before.
I said that? Well, if I did, then it's just because I was high on ayahuasca, all right? I didn't mean it.
Well, that's what we thought, but then you said...
Back to crazy-eyed Joe.
And I'm not just saying this because I'm high on ayahuasca. I mean it. I want you to have sex together with each other. Right?
Back to the kitchen as before.
Thank you. Thank you for insisting that we act on our cosmic attraction, brother. You're a bigger man than I ever could be.
He goes to kiss Joe again, but this time Joe stops him.
No, I'm not. I'm not a big man. I was hopped up on ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca opens the heart and brings out individual truth in all its forms. But sometimes it takes a while to process the experience. In time, you'll realize our union was what you wanted. But until then, I think we should put it behind us. What happened at Casa Cage stays at Casa Cage. And we need to move forward into the present. Let's eat! Then we have SEAL training and a murder to plan.
I'm sorry, SEAL training?
You don't think I'm going into combat with 2 untrained recruits, do you? Now eat up. We have a big day ahead.
As they begin to eat, Joe grumbles under his breath.
On ayahuasca.
Joe! What did we just say?
Joe forks some eggs into his mouth and chews. Exterior Nicolas Cage's $20 million Malibu mansion. Later, in vintage swimwear, swim cap, and sunglasses a la Pulp Fiction, Alexa soaks up the sun in a lounge chair out on Nick Cage's ocean view deck. We drone down onto the private beach below where Nick Cage stands in military training camos with a very out of their comfort zone looking Joe and Trevor.
I hope you maggots are ready, because I'm going to put your candy asses into shape.
Trevor and Joe swallowed as the first chords of George Thorogood's Bag to the Bone start up. Timely. Navy SEAL training montage. Nick Cage screams in their ears as Joe and Trevor struggle to do push-ups in the wet sand and surf. Nick Cage takes Trevor and Joe through hand-to-hand combat and knife training. He knocks Joe's face first into the sand and places a huge knife to Trevor's throat. Carrying M16s over their heads, Trevor and Joe run up and down the beach as Nick Cage jogs after them with a stopwatch, yelling like a drill sergeant. Smash 2, Nick Cage, who somehow murders the hell out of the sax solo in Bad to the Bone right in the middle of his own montage. We're back in it. Nick Cage screams in their ears as Joe and Trevor do sit-ups in the wet sand and surf. He follows them on a jet ski as they complete a 1-mile ocean swim. As Bad to the Bone ends, Trevor and Joe fall exhausted onto the beach in the crashing surf. Joe looks up at Nick Cage's combat boots as they step into frame.
Did we pass?
Are we SEALs?
Not even close. You didn't die. So that's something. Now go get cleaned up and let's figure out how we're going to kill Pollock.
Inside Nick Cage's mansion, looking very uneasy, Trevor tiptoes down the hall carrying his car keys. He winces as a door opens behind him, steam coming out as Joe exits, wrapped in a towel.
Your turn.
Joe sees Trevor's car keys.
What are you doing? Were you about to leave?
What? No.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes, you were. You were gonna sneak away and leave me here alone with Nicolas Cage.
Things have gotten out of hand, man. I gotta get out of here. The guy's nuts.
What about me? I'm supposed to be your partner, and you were just gonna abandon me? Man, I always defend you, but Alexa's right. You only care about yourself.
Oh, come on. That's not true.
Yes, it is true. You always try to blame everyone else, but you're the problem. Every shitty thing that's happened to me lately is because of you. You know what, man? When we get out of this, if we get out of this, I don't want to be writing partners anymore. I don't even want to be friends.
Oh, come on. You can't write without me. You need me.
Maybe I'll write with Alexa. Maybe we'll write some highbrow stuff that you would never get. Actually, I do mean it. We're done.
A laser sight appears on Trevor as Nick Cage comes around the corner holding a futuristic-looking handheld Gatling gun. Trevor throws his hands up.
I wasn't going anywhere. Please don't shoot me.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize the laser sight was on. Check it out. Look, this baby is fully automatic and fires 4,000 rounds a minute. Handy. Ready to go? Let's go. We have a murder to plan. Meet me in the conference room in 10. Chop, chop.
Carrying the gun, Nick Cage turns and exits.
Joe, come on.
Trevor grabs Joe's shoulder, but Joe jerks away and marches down the hall in his towel without responding. In the conference room, at one end of a large boardroom table, Nick Cage sits on a massive chair that is essentially his own head, painted to a perfect likeness. The seat is his tongue. Showered and changed, Trevor and Joe take up regular chairs farther down the table.
What's the plan, amigos? Machine gun jetpack, cyanide gas, surprise bear attack.
Yeah. The problem is just killing Pollock won't get us our money.
More important things than money, Trevor.
Yeah, to you, because you're rich.
It's a fair point. I'm loaded. I give you the money, but most of my fortune is tied up in forever stamps.
What if there was a way for all of us to get what we deserve, including Pollock?
I'm all ears. Well, except for my enormous penis. But let's hear the plan.
Well, I mean, it was Alexa's idea. You want to pitch it?
With a nod, Alexa stands and goes to a large whiteboard at one end of the room so she can write on it. She starts by writing the words residual effect.
It's called residual effect. It's about 4 artists who bankrupt a studio while making sure hundreds of others get the money owed them.
I like it so far.
Joe used to work in finance at Pollock's studio.
Dissolve to the Hollywood studio break room. It's a flashback. A butt-ass naked Joe fixes himself a cup of coffee in the office break room. Note, he has a huge bush. Thanks, Trevor. Normally dressed people come and go around him.
One of his tasks was monitoring how much money they were spending on marketing the movies versus how much money they were tracking to earn on the picture.
Interior Hollywood studio, Joe's cubicle flashback. Still entirely butt-ass naked, Joe sits at his desk in a cubicle as he clicks through spreadsheets.
But something was weird. He started to notice that every movie projected as a hit consistently came back as at least 40% lower in gross.
On Joe's computer screen, expected gross, 245 million in change, but the actual gross is around 137 million.
Hold on. Why is Joe butt-ass naked?
Naked Joe looks to camera as we slam back to Nick Cage's house. Joe turns back from the board where he is surprised to see Nick puffing pink smoke on a large ornate hookah as he is seemingly conjured out of thin air.
I'm sorry, what?
I just don't understand why Joe's naked in the flashback.
Oh, it's a screenwriting trick. When you're giving boring exposition, it helps keep the audience paying attention if you have the character doing something provocative.
Pump in the pool like Margot Robbie in The Big Short. Wrong line.
Hello?
No Margot Robbie. He's not even Margot Kidder. R.I.P. Since I really don't feel like picturing Joe naked, why don't we cut to the chase? Pollock was cooking the books, right?
Well, since he took over, the studio had a record number of hits, but that meant paying out artists their profit participation. So, rumor was, Pollock had the finance team create fake profit lines to hide how much money the studio made to keep from having to pay writers their rightful bonuses.
So you're proposing that we expose him by breaking into the studio, kidnapping Pollock, and forcing him to show us the real books before we kill him?
Excited Nick Cage leans forward in the Nick Cage chair, making it look like giant Nick Cage is licking the ass of a much smaller Nick Cage.
Yeah. Wait, is that me you're here? Yeah. Yeah. Except for, yeah. Yeah, except for the killing him part. Basically, we force him to pay every writer what they're really owed, as well as our fee for the movie he stole. Or we make the real books public and Pollock goes bankrupt from all the lawsuits. Boom. We'll be heroes.
Then the three of us make Made Guy the way God intended, as a comedy.
Okay. I like it. When do we kill Pollock?
I think like down the line, you know, right when he thinks he's gotten away with it.
Oh, genius! Let's do it!
Yeah. Glad you're excited, man. And the best part is we have the element of surprise. You know, Pollock will never see it coming.
No. I'm gonna have to call and tell him we're coming. Anything less would be dishonorable. It is the samurai way. Did I mention I was a samurai?
Interior Pat Pollock's showy penthouse office afternoon. Seemingly guilt-free about what he's done, Pollock watches girls in lingerie farting on his computer. His private cell rings. Why? He freezes the porn and answers.
Hi there.
Nicholas? Is that you?
Nick Cage on his gold alien iPhone is in split screen.
You sound surprised to hear from me.
No. Surprised? No, delighted, excited. We've been terribly worried about you, Nick. Are you okay? Where are you?
I know what you did, Pollock. You have to pay. I'm coming for you.
Nicholas, I don't know what you think you know, but I do know that this is all a big misunderstanding.
The only misunderstanding was you thinking you could fuck Nick Cage without getting fucked back hard! Move up, motherfucker!
Nick Cage disconnects, disappearing from screen.
Nick? You there?
Pollock buzzes for Abby, who hurries in.
Get me the head of Darkwater on the phone. We need emergency security. Now.
What's going on?
We've got a code red CFA incoming.
A crazy fucking actor? Who? Not Bruce Willis.
Crazier.
Mickey Rourke?
More crazier.
Crazier than Mickey Rourke? Who?
Nick Cage. And he knows.
Oh my God.
Outside Pollock's 6-story building on the studio lot, it's sunset. Night falls as 3 Darkwater security Humvees screech to a stop in front of Pollock's building. 16 heavily armed commandos in strike team gear get out and rush inside.
Gentlemen, this is what we call a worst case scenario.
Inside Pollock's office, Abby has an image of a maniacally grinning Nick Cage that has been pinned to a corkboard.
This is the guy that you need to be on the lookout for.
Beside the board, Abby briefs the commandos. She directs their attention to the photo with a metal pointer.
Nicolas Cage?
That's right. Nicolas fucking Cage. And he might be in the company of these 2 disgruntled writers.
We're here because you're worried about an actor and 2 writers?
He points at the other alphas who laugh. Pollock cracks the pointer down on his desk, cutting off the chuckles.
You had better lose those smug attitudes right now, boys, if you want to live. Don't be fooled. There's nothing more dangerous than a disgruntled writer. Writers are smart, creative, and sneaky. And as for Cage, he has developed a formidable array of skills and abilities from his intensive fight and weapons training from all his movies over the years.
He's been through SEAL and Delta Force training twice. Can any of you say that? Any of you?
Hearing this, the commandos look around, shifting uneasily.
He's as dangerous an opponent as any you've ever come across. More importantly, he's crazy, which makes him unpredictable. So stay on your fucking toes and expect the unexpected.
Cut to an airplane tarmac, Van Nuys Airport evening. Dressed in a black jumpsuit and wearing cool aviator shades. A black duffel bag slung across one shoulder, Nick Cage pulls the huge bay door of an airplane hangar open, revealing the Con Air airplane inside. Nick grins.
Told you I owned the Con airplane.
As Trevor, Joe, and Alexa take this in, a 30-year-old man in a flight suit approaches.
This is our pilot for the evening. His name's TJ, but you may know him better as the baby from Raising Arizona.
Hey, Poppy.
He calls me Poppy.
Nick Cage grabs 2 packs and shoves them at the guys.
What is
Your
this?
squirrel suits and parachutes.
We're jumping?
Of course. This is how we're going to get onto the lot undetected. Pollock will never see it coming.
Okay, when this goes bad, you'll keep me out of it, right?
Before he can answer, Nick goes to Alexa and gives her a tender kiss goodbye. It has a noticeable effect on her.
Goodbye.
Why are you kissing my wife on the mouth?
Joe, you know I kiss everyone like that. Shut up and suit up.
Interior Pollock's office, reception area, studio lot night. A closed-circuit TV monitor has been set up showing several camera views of the building. Pollock and Abby stand nearby as the lead commando gives orders to his team.
All right, I want a man at every gate. Cage doesn't get in here without me knowing.
5 guys peel off and head for the studio gates.
Jackson, you get topside. Give me eyes from the top.
Jackson nods and heads out.
All right, this will be the command center. Carter Hayes, you stay here. Guard the office with me. The rest of you disperse throughout the building. I want every access point covered. You understand me?
The other men nod, run out. Carter and Hayes stay behind. Nervous, Abby watches as the remaining commandos pull their balaclavas on, obscuring their faces. They lock and load their weapons.
Let's watch from my office.
Joey, I think I'm gonna go.
Go? What the very devil are you talking about?
I feel like this is a little outside the job description.
The job description? Now you mentioned the job description. The job description is you do whatever the fuck. I want whatever the fuck I tell you to do it.
Yeah, that's not really gonna work for her.
But I need you? If you leave now, you're done at this town. I'll make sure no one hires you ever again.
Are you, a cisgendered male studio exec, seriously threatening to blackball me, a female employee with whom you've had a sexual relationship?
The sex was your idea.
Yeah, so?
Do you want to borrow my car? Kid, you're gonna run a fucking studio.
I know.
Abby grabs her personal items and exits. Inside the Con airplane flying over the valley night. At the back of the plane, Joe studiously ignores Trevor as they pull their squirrel jumpsuits on.
Talk to me? Come on, man. I'm sorry, okay? It was a dick move to try to sneak out on you, but I mean, it's not like you didn't know I can be a dick sometimes.
A big dick.
Yes, a big dick.
A lot of the time.
Okay, yes, I'm a big dick a lot of the time, but how can you throw away 10 years of friendship just like that?
Well, I guess it was the dick that broke the camel's back.
You give me another chance. Come on, I'll do better.
It's too late, all right? Besides, why would I want to be friends with a big dick like you?
Because I don't have any other friends.
And I wonder why.
Their convo is interrupted as a suited up Nick Cage moves back to them from the front of the plane.
Get your helmets on!
Joe and Trevor pull their Bluetooth equipped helmets on. Nick Cage opens the bay doors, revealing Burbank far below.
What? I can't do this. I don't know how to parachute.
Shouldn't we have like a lesson or something?
Literally nothing to it. You just jump. Use the squirrel suit to direct your flight. Pull the ripcord before you hit the ground. It's simple.
Who packed the shoes?
Mickey Rourke. He packs all my shoes. When I trust to do it.
We flash to Mickey Rourke packing parachutes as he hand feeds his 3 chihuahuas back to the airplane.
Wait, what?
Come again?
Go time!
Before they know what's happening, Nick Cage shoves the screaming Trevor and Joe out of the plane.
Hey, good luck, Poppy!
Thank you, baby, from Raising Arizona.
The baby from Raising Arizona gives Nick Cage a thumbs up as Nick pulls his goggles on, throws a duffel bag over one shoulder, and dive bombs out of the plane. Midair, high above Burbank night, screaming, Trevor and Joe find each other in midair and cling to each other as they plummet towards the ground. Looking like he's done this a million times, Nick Cage squirrel suits towards them. Pulling himself up to them, he slaps them.
Stop that stupid shit and listen!
Stunned, Trevor and Joe stop screaming.
Count of 3, let go of each other, and extend your wings. Watch me. Like this.
He shows them, extending his squirrel suit wings and arcing away from them. Letting go of Joe, Trevor tries it. The wind catches his wings, allowing him to direct his movement, and suddenly he's flying. Joe tries it too. It is fucking exhilarating.
I'm flying. We're flying.
This is awesome!
Go over the studio. Pull your cords, and then follow me down. We're going to land on Pollock's building. Do you copy?
Copy!
Copy!
In a bird-like formation, Joe, Trevor, and Nick Cage fly over the lot. Nick Cage yanks his cord, his chute deploys, and he's yanked up and away. Trevor goes next, then Joe. Exterior, Pollock's 6-story office building, rooftop. A lone commando uses night vision digital binoculars to keep an eye out for a ground attack, but he's looking the wrong direction. Hearing something, he looks up as Nick Cage parachutes down on top of him, knocking him out cold. This done, he hits the release on his chute, sending it flying off into the night. First Trevor, then Joe now settle onto the rooftop.
That was fucking amazing.
Removing his helmet, Joe nods in agreement. They high-five.
Round and hit the release on your chute.
The what?
Nick Cage goes and releases Trevor's chute, but before he can get to Joe, a gust of wind fills Joe's parachute, yanks him across the rooftop towards the edge of the building. Trevor dives for Joe. He grabs hold of Joe's legs, but he gets dragged along with him. Screaming, the 2 riders are slammed hard against the low wall that runs around the edge of the rooftop. Oof, they're just about to go over the side when Nick Cage appears and releases the chute. It flaps away on the breeze. Relieved, Joe grins at Joe.
What?
What? I just risked my life to save you. I mean, before Nick Cage saved both of us. I mean, that has to mean something, right?
No, not really.
What is this? Is it fucking amateur hour? What the hell's the matter with you two? What kind of ignoramuses don't know how to unlock their chute after parachuting onto a building? Are you fucking retarded? Like, I'm actually asking, are you mentally retarded? Like, do you have Down syndrome?
No, we're writers.
Trevor nods. Nick Cage points to the unconscious commando lying on the roof.
Newsflash, writer boy. These are serious mofos we're going up against. So you two better get your heads in the game or we'll all be sucking dick in prison. Is that what you want?
No.
We're sorry.
I overreacted. And I shouldn't have used the R word that way. It was wrong. I just lose my temper when I get upset sometimes. Do you forgive me? Tell me you forgive me.
We forgive you, man.
Trevor nods. Feeling better, Nick Cage grabs Joe's head and kisses him on the lips.
Thank you, brother.
Before Trevor can stop him, he too gets a smooch. This done, Nick Cage goes and binds the unconscious commando's hands and wrist zip ties them. He takes the guy's gun and his walkie-talkie.
These guys aren't good at all. They'll have all their access points covered.
So, how do we get to Pollock?
Shooting them that Nick Cage grin, he takes the lengths of nylon climbing rope and harnesses from the duffel bag.
How are you two at rappelling?
Off Joe and Trevor's stricken looks, we go into Pollock's 6-story office building at night. We're hearing the crash of glass. An armed commando rushes down a hall into a darkened office. Seeing that the window has been shattered, he steps inside to investigate. He walks over to the shattered window to see 3 rappelling ropes trailing into the office.
Looking for me?
The commando spins around, too late, as Nick Cage knocks him out from behind. This done, he quickly calf ties the commando like a rodeo steer with one rappelling rope and shoves him out the window to dangle helplessly in the high wind. Grinning, Nick Cage turns to Trevor and Joe, who crouch fearfully underneath the desk.
This is fun, right? All right, follow me and stay close.
Series of fast action sequences. A fire exit stairwell. Commando peers down over a railing. From above, a noose drops down and grabs him by the neck, yanks him kicking over the rail. In an office corridor, 2 armed commandos slowly walk down the hall. As they pass darkened doorways on either side, they are suddenly hit by flying foam from the fire extinguishers that Joe and Trevor wield. Blinded, they slip and slide, firing wildly as Nick Cage drops down from the ceiling to knock them out. In Pollock's office reception area, the lead commando watches the carnage on his closed-circuit monitor.
Targets are in the building. Repeat, they're in the building. Everyone up here now!
Inside the office building elevator night, 5 armed commandos rush in and hit the button for the penthouse. As the elevator goes up, a panel in the ceiling slides open and a small gas grenade gets dropped inside. Gas begins to fill the elevator. Pollock's reception area, ding! The lead commando and his last 2 men watch as the elevator doors glide open and smoke billows out. From the lead commander's POV, we see 5 commandos unconscious in a pile.
They're using gas. They're using gas. Get your masks on now.
Nodding, the other 2 pull their gas masks on. We cut to Pollock's showy penthouse office, 6-story building night. At his desk, a white-faced, terrified Pollock watches the carnage on a closed-circuit monitor. Highly fucking alarmed, Pollock rushes to his office door and throws it open. Looking out into the reception area, he addresses the lead commando and his last 2 men.
You 3, get in here, get in here. I have my office rigged into a panic room.
Nodding, the lead commando motions for the other 2. Guns at the ready, they rush down the hall and follow him into Pollock's office. When everyone is inside, Pollock hits a row of buttons at his desk. One by one, plate metal security doors slam home over the windows and doors.
Okay, these doors are state-of-the-art. They're made to withstand a nuclear blast. Those motherfuckers aren't getting in here.
Unless they're already in.
Pollock's smile falls from his face as the lead commander removes his balaclava, revealing that it's actually Nick Cage. In horror, Pollock watches the other 2 commandos remove theirs as well. Yep, it's Joe and Trevor. Nick Cage walks slowly towards Pollock, who puts his hand up and backs away in fear.
I can't believe you wouldn't pay Writers Guild minimum to save my life, Pollock. That hurts.
I was just negotiating.
You wanted them to kill me so you could claim the production insurance.
Nicholas, that's insane. I would never do that to you. I was just trying to get the best deal.
Well, since you like deals so much, here's the new offer, Pollock. You're going to tell us where the extra set of books are, or I'm going to pull off your toenails with these pliers.
Backed up against the trophy case, Pollock stops short as Nick Cage produces a pair of pliers from his utility belt.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, sure you do. The top secret air gap laptop that stores the real studio financial information.
But what would you even want those books for, if they existed, which they don't?
Because you're going to pay every writer you've worked with over the past 10 years what they're owed, including us.
Or we make the real numbers public and let them sue your ass for it.
Are you fucking insane? If those numbers get out, it'll bankrupt the studio. I mean, if they existed, which they don't.
Wrong answer.
He nods at Joe and Trevor, who duct tape Pollock to his office throne. Joe takes off Pollock's expensive Italian loafers and removes his sock. We watch as Nick Cage kneels by Pollock's feet with the pliers.
Do you like nursery rhymes?
Nick, dear chap, please don't do this.
Nick begins the nursery rhyme, tapping one of Pollock's exposed toes with the pliers as he goes.
This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy had roast beef. This little piggy had none. And this little piggy, oh, well, that little piggy, he went.
Nick grabs hold of Pollock's big toenail with the pliers and yanks it off.
Yell all you want, because no one's coming to save you with those security doors in place.
Yeah, this seems like a little excessive.
Oh, now who's the pussy?
Close on Pollock's bloody toenail as Nick Cage takes hold of the one next to it.
Nick, we've known each other for 20 years. Please, I'm begging you.
Rip! Pollock screams bloody murder as Nick yanks another nail off. In great pain, he wets himself.
Well, I guess there's the wee.
I'll tell you where it is.
Nick Cage nods to the guys who cut the duct tape and free Pollock from the throne. Nick Cage helps Pollock up and follows him as he limps over to the wall of Emmys, Golden Globes, and Oscars. He pushes a hidden button. A section swings free, revealing a small, recessed wall safe. Leaning forward, Pollock allows a scanner to do a retinal scan and then throws the safe open.
It's in here.
Inside the safe, we see some cash, a silver laptop, and a black Glock semi-automatic. Blocking the view so Nick and the guys can't see, Pollock reaches in and grabs the gun. Spinning, he turns to fire, but as he pulls the trigger, Nick Cage deflects Pollock's arm with a circular motion, causing the bullet to hit Joe in the ear. It shatters the plate glass window behind and ricochets off the metal grate protecting it, embedding in Trevor's leg just above the knee. Blood spurts. Joe clamps his hand over his missing piece of ear. Trevor goes down as his leg gives out.
Ah! Shit!
Nick takes the gun from Pollock.
That's a hell of a move.
It was a classic wax on, wax off. Learned it for the Karate Kid audition. Came down to me or Ralph Macchio, but I backed out when they wouldn't let me actually fight Johnny to the death. They were cowards.
Nick Cage grabs the laptop and hands it to a bleeding Joe.
All right, do your thing.
Do my thing? I just got shot in the head. I need to go to the hospital.
Oh, quit whining. He just winged you. It looks worse than it is.
What about me?
Nick inspects the bullet wound.
Just a flesh wound. They'll dig the bullet out and you'll be fine. Let's do what we came here to do.
Dripping blood, Joe carries the laptop over to Pollock's desk and opens it.
It's encrypted. I need the code.
Nick Cage looks over to Pollock, who shakes his head.
No, if I give you that code, I am ruined. No way I'm doing that. I don't care what you do to me.
Slam to outside the office window at a dizzying height. Nick Cage dangles a screaming Pollock out the shattered office window by his tie.
Okay, I do care. I'll tell you, it's 862 QVM.
At the desk, Joe punches the code into the laptop.
I'm in.
Nick Cage reels Pollock back inside as Joe checks out the information he finds.
Okay, I've got the file. Now, all I have to do is connect to wireless and we can make it public.
Joe begins punching buttons.
Don't do it, I beg you. You'll tank the studio. Think about all the people you'll be hurting, and just for writers?
What about all the people you've already hurt?
On the screen, the files upload. Joe poises his finger over the send button.
Please, I'll give you whatever you want. How about a huge overhead deal with officers on the lot and first crack at the biggest projects we've got, huh? You'll be the hottest writers in town. I'll make sure of it.
Okay, and you have to agree to make Maid Guy just the way we wrote it.
Done, double done. You want? I'll even get Tom Hanks to star in it.
Joe's face goes dark. He storms over to Pollock.
There's one thing you should probably know about me, Pollock. I hate Tom Hanks.
Grabbing Pollock by the tie, Joe shoves him back out the window.
Joe, what are you doing?
Finally standing up for myself. Isn't that what everybody wanted?
killing him won't solve anything.
Since when? You love threatening to kill people.
Since I'm working on my anger issues. And what if he's right? What if we hurt as many people as we help by releasing that information? If the studio tanks, lots of people will be out of jobs, including us.
We didn't do all of it just to let him buy us off.
No, we did it so we could get our script made the way we wrote it. And that is what he's offering. Plus, I mean, an overhead deal and offices on the lot, which seems very generous. It's everything we wanted. It's why we came to Hollywood.
Staring into Pollock's eyes, Joe considers this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. But... Okay, but we want separate deals because we're not partners anymore.
You got it. Whatever you want. Just pull me in.
Okay, you got a deal.
Relieved, Pollock grins, but as Joe starts to pull him in, his hand slips on the tie. Pollock goes backwards out of the window, falling to school stories, crashing down atop of his own Tesla. Angle on Trevor, Joe, and Nick Cage in the window as they look down at us.
Wow. Makes the guy think you have the deal and then drop him. It's messed up even for me.
What? No. It was an accident. My hand slipped.
There are no accidents in this universe, Joe.
Yes, there are. Plenty of them. I have overactive sweat glands.
Somehow still alive, Pollock groans atop the shattered Tesla. His voice drifts up to him from below.
The fucking deal's off.
Hearing the wail of sirens, they all look down to see cops and emergency response vehicles squealing up below.
Well, that's my cue to vamoose.
Wait, you're leaving? Why do you get to just walk away?
Because I can.
What about us?
I can get one of you out of here, but not both. Someone has to take the fall, so who's it gonna be?
Seeing his angry reflection in the cracked glass of the window, Trevor takes a deep breath and then...
Save Joe.
Seriously?
You were right. I'm the problem. I got you into this, and it's only fair that I get you out.
I can't believe you would do that for me.
Yeah, well, I can't afford to lose any friends, especially not my best friend. Who knows? Maybe prison will give me the chance to work on my anger issues.
Trevor holds out his hand. Joe hugs him.
We should go.
Nick Cage hits the desk button to slide the reinforced metal grate back up and reveal the office door. Joe starts out with Nick Cage, but stops at the door and looks back at Trevor.
I'm staying with Trevor. We started this together, and we have to finish it together.
Hardly able to believe it, Trevor smiles at his friend. Besides Joe, Nick Cage grins like a proud papa.
You've passed the final test. I'm proud of you.
Does this mean you're staying too?
No, I'm out of here. I'm going to lend you guys my personal lawyer to TCB. Best shark in town. And don't worry. I'll look after Alexa while you're gone.
What? Fuck that. No. I don't care what kind of fucked up, drugged out. Okay, someone's calling me. I don't care what kind of fucked up, drugged out permission I gave before, but I take it back. Alexa is my wife. I am not okay with that, so back off.
Look at you, standing up to me even though we both know I could literally rip your beating heart out of your chest right now. Telling me impressed.
So you'll leave Alexa alone?
No. Alexa's an empowered, sexually liberated modern woman, and I think we need to let her make her own decisions. Don't you?
Clapping Joe on the shoulder, Nick Cage turns and exits through the door. Joe follows, hat on his heels.
No. I don't think she already made the choice when she married me, so it's too late now.
Pollock's reception area. Joe stops short, saying, Nick Cage is already gone.
Nick? Mr. Cage?
Mystified, Joe looks around as Trevor limps up behind him.
Should we try to get away?
We might be going down, but we can still do what we came here to do and make sure those other writers get paid.
Joe nods. Together, they move back into Pollock's office, go to the laptop on the desk.
I'm sorry about all that stuff I said back at the house, man. I didn't mean it. I love writing with you.
I love writing with you.
Partners.
Joe and Trevor bump fists. So edgy. And then they press the send button at the same time, releasing the information onto the web.
Now let's get the fuck out of here.
Interior reception area, same. Joe limps after Trevor, who makes his way towards the fire exit. Ding! Behind them, an elevator arrives, and Benny, the security guard, steps out. Joe is relieved.
Oh, hey there, Benny.
Without a word, Benny takes 2 tasers out of his holsters and zaps them. They both hit the ground.
You don't have a motherfucking drive on.
Over black.
Movie star Nicolas Cage is back home after a harrowing experience in which he was kidnapped and held for ransom by 2 unknown screenwriters in an attempt to get revenge on the studio head, Pat Pollock, who they say stole their idea.
We're up on a jail cell attorney-client privilege room. Close on the female newscaster on a wall-mounted TV. We widen to reveal Joe and Trevor still bandaged from their gunshot wounds and wearing orange prison jumpsuits and leg manacles. They watch the news from a small table.
Unknown? What the hell? I co-created a TV series for CBS.
No one remembers that far back, dude.
A low-level production assistant who was also kidnapped was discovered alive in the trunk of one of the writer's cars. He had allegedly been in there for several days.
Oh, shit! We forgot about Jimmy!
Oh, that's not cool at all, man.
Although in serious condition after being thrown from a top floor of a building, remarkably, studio head Patrick Pollock is expected to make a full recovery.
Well, that's good news. If he lives, we won't be facing a murder charge.
Trevor just glowers at him. They both turn as a guard unlocks the door and allows a short, bald Leo Rothman to enter. $2,000 suit, $2,000 briefcase, 50-cent sense of humor.
Booth and Munson.
Munson Booth.
I'm Leo Rothman, Mr. Cage's personal attorney. Mr. Cage, in his infinite generosity and enlightened spirit, yada, yada, yada. I'm supposed to take care of you boys.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, just give it to us straight. What are we looking at here?
Minimum of 3.5. Minimum of 3.5 against a high 7.
I mean, that seems like a long time.
You know, what about a deal?
Are you listening to me? That is the deal.
Well, what if we don't take it? Is there a chance we get off with nothing?
Oh, you don't take the deal, I guarantee you get nothing.
So we should take our chances at trial.
What trial?
You're talking about our plea deal, right?
Plea deal? Do I look like a public defender? I'm Mr. Cage's entertainment lawyer. I'm talking about Kidnapping Cage, the biggest strip sale this town has ever seen. We have multiple offers. You boys are the hottest story in Hollywood. The writers who kidnapped the movie star? It's a ruthless people meets adaptation. I've got offers from every studio.
Wait, so when you said 3.5 against a high 7, you weren't talking about years in prison? You meant
$3.5 million.
And that's just the sale. It goes to $7 million when they make the movie, and they're gonna make the fucking movie.
Joe and Trevor look at each other and then yelp in joy. They try to dance around, but Trevor's leg is, hurt, and he's in prison shackles, making it impossible. When they finally calm down, they turn to Leo.
What about jail time? Can you get us a deal there too?
like maybe probation?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Part of the heat on the script is that you guys are doing time. That's sexy, dangerous, not to mention a great fucking ending. Sorry, no jail time, no heat.
Trevor and Joe sit back in their chairs, absorbing this.
So we can be hugely successful screenwriters.
Well, we have to go to prison.
That's the deal.
As Joe and Trevor look at each other, cut to exterior LA County Jail parking lot day. Leo climbs into his silver Mercedes. He puts a signed contract in his briefcase and makes a call.
It's Leo Rothstein. I just met with the writers. Congratulations, the script is yours.
In the studio office day, a large desk chair spins around to reveal Abby. Yep, she's running the studio.
Goddamn right. Call their manager and tell her we want this thing ready for production before their first parole hearing. And I think, Leo,
I'm sorry, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, there we go. Put some fucking respect
Make
on
it
it.
happen.
She hangs up, lights a cigar, and leans back in satisfaction. In a prison cell at a minimum security prison. During the day, Joe and Trevor stand with their sheets and pillows as the prison cell's door slams shut.
Can I ask a question? When our movie gets made, what do you think about Charlie Day to play me?
Charlie Day? Try Seth Rogen.
I don't look anything like Seth Rogen.
No, but you seem like Seth Rogen.
Well, who's playing you?
Donald Glover.
So, what now?
I don't know, I guess we just start writing?
Joe nods. He goes and gets a roll of toilet paper from beside the toilet in the middle of the cell and begins to scratch on it with a pencil nub.
Okay. We have our inciting incident and the break into 2. And page 30 is us kidnapping Nick Cage, obviously.
Okay, quit trying to stretch Act 1. It's page 25, not page 30.
Get out of my face with that save the cat bullshit.
I'm just saying you always overwrite.
And you always overcomplicate.
Oh, come on. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
The guys start their seamless and easy writing process. We fade out. It's 2 years later, and we're back up on an E-News studio. A perky E-News reporter talks to camera.
News from Tinseltown. Kidnapping Cage, the incredible true story of the 2 hapless screenwriters who attempted to hold a movie star for ransom as revenge for having their ideas stolen, is set to begin production this week, and the town is buzzing. Production coincides with the real-life writers released from prison.
Exterior California Penitentiary Day. A bell alarms, the doors crack open, and out step Trevor, now with a beard, and Joe, now with a neck tattoo.
Despite their crimes, the writers are being hailed by some as heroic whistleblowers for revealing shady bookkeeping, which has led to hundreds of lawsuits against former studio head Pat Pollock.
The guys shake and bro hug the prison guard. Good luck with the movie, boys. Hit me up if you ever need any extras.
Thanks, Hector.
Will do.
Hector the guard goes back inside. Trevor and Joe turn to face the California desert in front of them.
Wait, isn't Alexa supposed to pick us up?
Yeah, where is she?
In the distance, they see a cloud of dust tearing up into the air. Something is coming at them fast. It gets closer, and we see it is a black muscle car with mirrored windows. It's speeding towards them. Joe and Trevor are getting nervous. The car fishtails, skidding to a stop in front of them, spraying them with a cloud of dust. The driver's door opens, and Nick Cage steps out.
Get in the car!
What's happening?
Nick Cage tosses them a copy of The Hollywood Reporter. On the cover, The Rock takes over.
The fucking studio replaced me with The Rock! My own story!
So, what do you want us to do?
The passenger door opens and Alexa steps out wearing sunglasses and a military beret. She tosses a sawed-off shotgun into Trevor's hands.
We're gonna kidnap The Rock.
That's my girl.
What? Hold the fuck up. Wait, have you 2 been seeing each other?
Alexa opens her mouth to respond, but Nick Cage jumps in.
Of course not.
Oh, thank God.
Relieved, Joe goes to kiss Alexa as Nick Cage throws a "he bought it" wink at Trevor and opens the trunk to reveal a shitload of guns, ammo, and grenades. As he grabs an Uzi and pulls a bandolier of bullets over his chest, Trevor looks at Joe.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Sequel.
Trevor nods. Catching a gun, Joe gets in the car. Trevor racks the shotgun and follows. Nick Cage slams the trunk, now wearing 2 bullet belts across his chest, exactly as he looked in the Demon Seed trailer at the start. He smiles, puts on his mirrored shades.
Cracker Jack.
He gets in the car, fires up the engine, and peels out. As the muscle car tears off into the hot California sun, the music cranks up and we smash to black. After credits. This summer, get ready for Kidnapping Cage, the uproarious R-rated comedy based on the real-life story. Back up on R-rated Kidnapping Cage trailer. When Hollywood set out to screw them with a crazy-looking CGI lazy eye, Seth Rogen plays Joe.
Okay. All we have to do is convince Nick Cage our idea is the better version. We can steal our movie back from the inside.
They screwed it right back. Donald Glover talks into a glowing iPhone as he imitates Trevor doing Hans Gruber.
You have until 10 a.m. to wire the money. Once we have confirmation we've received it, Nicolas Cage will be returned in good health.
When your future is held hostage, Emma Stone talks to Seth Rogen.
Just because I may be mildly attracted to Nicolas Cage doesn't mean I'm going to act on it, Joe.
The only thing you can do is unleash the cage. In a Nick Cage wig, The Rock yells into a glowing iPhone.
Did you really think that we could fuck Nick Cage and not get fucked back harder?
From producer Judd Apatow, come see the movie critics are calling genius. Not sure who said that. The perfect send-up of the excesses of liberal Hollywood. Shit your pants funny. I literally shit my pants. An R-rated comedy sure to break 100 million. We all said this in some publication. But if you come prepared to laugh and make sure you don't forget to. In his Nick Cage wig, The Rock talks directly to camera.
Blue belt, motherfucker.
And we smash to black, and no one ever reads this script again.
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh my God. By deepest thanks to Nat Faxon, Lamorne Morris, Anna Camp, Romy Rosemont, Ian Gary, Alex Vaughan, Arvind, Ethan, David, Scott. I'm missing. I'm like literally just scrolling through my entire like Zoom. Apparently me. Huge shout out to Jessica Sherman Casting for helping us put this incredible group together. Guys, please, if you're watching this, click on the link in the chat. Go to the United Way of Greater Los Angeles. Make a donation. Anything that you can give, $5. They'll take more, but whatever you can give. There are people who are on the street. There are people who cannot pay rent, that are being forced out of their homes. They do not have money. This is a pandemic relief fund that specifically targets them, that specifically goes after the people who are most in need in our community, and aren't just trying to make up silly stories to make people laugh. They're actually doing real work and trying their best. So please, please, please donate. They need your help. My huge thanks to everybody who participated with this and everybody watching out there. The several million people. Yes,
Joe,
somebody wants to jump in.
Joe, can you post the link again? It looks like there was like something that spammed out the chat.
Oh yes, I will do that. I will do that immediately.
Lamorne did it.
I just posted it.
You guys are amazing. Thank you again,
That's only
everybody.
to panelists. We need to repost it to all attendees. I think that's just panelists.
Perfect. And I will repost this as well. We're going to try to make this link live where you guys can. If anybody wasn't able to watch, we can watch it from the beginning and then donate from there. Again, my huge thanks. The real life Trevor Munson with Bonnie, who did not leave him, thankfully. A huge shout out to Alexa Alamani, who
yes,
my wonderful ex-wife, who approved of this script with open arms. So thank you, Alexa. For having the greatest sense of humor of all of us. Huge thanks to you guys. Have a great night. Cheers, and be safe and be well.
Have a good night, y'all.
Guys.
Night all.
Thank you.
Awesome.